Welcome to another podcast about geek culture in a medium already saturated with everything nerds love and crave. It's the Lunatic Parade Podcast. Fuck this, let's do it! Do it!
I think we should start all podcasts now with Wheels on the Bus.
Yeah, we
No.
should. Why? We did it in the last one, man.
We did.
What?
It was great.
It was
Yeah, we
great.
get Wheels on the Bus.
No.
Baby Shark?
Yeah, dude. No, fuck that baby shark shit. Just fuck that shit, dude. I fucking.
The Leo Metal guy did a copy of it.
Yeah, no, he did a cover of Baby Shark. Yeah, that guy does weird shit, man.
He's awesome, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
That you just described all of us. We all
right.
do weird shit.
Wait, let's start this podcast off with a toast. Here's to the crack that never heals. The more you rub it, the better it feels.
Yeah.
We're toasting with spicy trail mix. All right.
Yeah, guys. So we're going to do an episode of the Lunatic Parade Podcast tonight, kind of on a whim, out of the blue. We decided to say fuck it on the game night tonight, and they're going to record. Sound's going to be shitty. We're sharing multiple mics, and the windows are open.
It
So
could possibly be shittier than last night.
yeah, it definitely can't be shittier than the last one.
Last night we managed to get Curt and Trent, and that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. That was all of it.
And plus, there's alcohol involved tonight. It's going to get freaky.
I know. And what makes me the happiest is we have Tim.
Hello.
We have a Tim back.
I am.
Yay, Tim's back. Yay.
Yay, Tim. And we have a special guest, Ben, with us tonight.
Hey!
Say hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Awesome.
In addition to Trent,
Yes, I'm here.
Stormy,
Hey, what's up, guys?
and Bob.
Howdy, folks. What's up?
And me, Curt, your favorite.
Julie, the cruise director over there.
So Tim
The
was
love
actually on
boats.
the mythical Lost episode.
Yeah.
So
This is technically Tim's third episode, but the first episode he was on is the Lost episode, which is the one where I forgot to take all the microphones off of mute when we recorded. And then Tim and I did one by ourselves, and then now it's his third one.
That's right.
I'm so
And
happy
I've
to have
listened to them all. So.
you. Except for the Lost one. Nobody's heard the Lost one.
Well, what about the test one?
Oh, maybe okay. Did I produce that and put it out?
We didn't put it out, but
Okay.
no, because we were talking about like MMOs.
The test one. Yeah,
Right,
that
the test
one. Yeah.
one. And I got a bunch of names wrong.
Yeah.
On games with that. And I went back. I was like, I don't think those were the right names. of those games. And I was like, no.
Yeah, we
So you have the Stormy disease.
yeah.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that. So.
Well, we decided over the last couple of podcasts, since you haven't been here, that we were going to try to be factually accurate, and then realized we're incapable of it because we're all 40 and old and have terrible memories. So,
And nobody's going to be our man in the chair, like
Yeah.
looking shit up and
Exactly.
double checking it the whole way. So we're just blowing off at the
yeah,
mouth.
we just
you
do
know?
the best we can and say fuck it. You know what I mean? Like so.
Right.
So
We'll just say I'm sorry if we're wrong.
Exactly.
That's my plan.
Tonight we're
Jamie's
just
not going to look it up.
Tonight we're just fucking winging it. We're not gonna we're just gonna see what the fuck happens. So you're gonna hear bottles clanking, you're gonna hear Curt farting, you're gonna hear motorcycles drive by, you're gonna fucking hear doors open and close, and probably some peeing at some point. And I'm sure somebody will cry. I'm sure at some point in time tears will happen. So
you literally have stream of consciousness with the Lunatic Parade.
yeah,
Good
look the
luck.
fuck out.
Just a quick
Hold
order
on.
of business, though. I want to right out the gate just thank Kenny Pick and the people over at Indie Media Weekly that had us on the podcast Turn Up the Night on Tuesday night. And Indie Media Weekly will be airing our first episode of our podcast tonight at 10:15.
That's right. Did we ever tweet about that, or did we forget to?
I forgot to. I'm doing it now.
Come on,
All
social
right.
media manager.
It's happening as we speak, folks.
Yes. No, big shout out to those guys, man. That was a good time. It was a fun time getting on the call with them and talking with them, and I look forward to doing more stuff with them in the future.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Like they're cool as shit, man, and it's great to be like working with another local company and doing something like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm really happy about that. You know.
We're putting it out there.
I know, dude. We're putting our junk in people's faces, as Curt says. Which I don't think we're allowed
What
to say
time do
that.
we go on?
We go on at 10:15 p.m. on Fridays, and on Saturdays 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, nailed it.
Daniel, you kept telling me rule number 1 is keep my pants on. Tonight, no promises.
Oh shit! Bob's drinking and his pants are coming
They'll
off.
never know. You
That's
can't-
that's the right turn, Clyde. We took.
Yeah. We're getting comfy in here.
So where do we want to start tonight, man?
We're going to start off exactly where we did on our first attempt at this podcast, which was talking about Pathfinder
Second
2.0.
edition. And I don't have my sheet with me, so it should be fun.
Oh, is this Is this like Pathfinder Return of the Feats?
Did you know?
Actually,
did you
there's
know what about that? Did you look it up?
I didn't. I knew that it was coming out, but I haven't looked into it yet.
I think it sounds fucking amazing. Like, seriously, I had a whole sheet written out with all the cool shit that's done, but I threw it away today because I didn't know we were going to do this. So, but no, like, one of the big things I'll just touch on some of the quick topics I'm really excited about. Number one, the guy who reviewed it said that they pretty much threw the original Pathfinder game away and started from scratch. And they said that the way the guy compared it was it's definitely Paizo's move towards 5th edition, towards 4th, 5th edition with how they're handling like rounds and combat and how they do what they do. But he said that where 5th edition falls short, which is in character creation and customization of your character, Pathfinder maintains that. So it sounds to me like they're creating the game that I've been dreaming of, which is the awesome fucking not too many skills, but not so few skills ability to like actually customize a character. But then has the rules get the fuck out of the way stuff of 5th edition and like create like this perfect game. In my opinion, I think it's going to be perfect.
I wonder how long it'll take Wizards of the Coast to implement like a player's handbook 5.2.
I think we're going to see a 5.5. I think we're going to see pop out. I think we're going to see a 5.5 where they're like, okay, now you can get new skills.
We've reintroduced skills for all the guys that wanted skills.
The thing is, I want skills, but I don't want too many of them. Like, Pathfinder has too many fucking skills. That Pathfinder book over there makes me want to kill myself every time I try to make a character work.
My favorite thing is, like, when you get a Pathfinder book and it's got new feats in it that counteract old feats.
Yeah.
They don't no. You definitely need a rules lawyer for Pathfinder.
Well, that's kind of what this guy talked about, was that they've gotten away from that now, and they said a lot of the math is baked into like the skills that you choose. And now one thing I think is really cool is at every level you take both an ancestral and a class feat. So they have ancestral feats, which they now call your race is now ancestry.
They're saying it's less complicated, but that sounds more complicated.
Why? Because you choose more things
At every fucking level?
So what?
Yeah, dude. Really?
So if you choose, it's like the way the guy described it is basically, it's like every time you choose something, you're just adding a new tool to your toolbox. So it's not like you're sitting there and you're like, okay, now I have to go update these 7 skills and add this weird bonus to it. No, it's like, okay, cool. This feat gives me windmill attack. Awesome. This feat gives me jump kick. This feat gives me groin punch. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it gives you new abilities. And with each one that you take, it opens up a different tree that you can follow to customize your character. The way the guy described it to me, it's everything that was good about Pathfinder with all the suck gone. And then everything that makes
don't want that.
everything that makes Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition awesome with all the suck gone.
But
And
why
they
are we
took the
taking
two and
away
stuck
the
them
suck?
together.
Occasionally, good suck is a good thing.
Yeah, but now if you're doing the sucking and you don't want to.
Point taken.
Because if we're talking tool
And
in
now
your
we're-
toolkit,
now we're back
I think
to
we
porn.
all know from a guy's perspective, most guys with that like super thousands of dollars worth of tools in their fucking garage, they're never, ever, ever going to use. If you're a guy that works on shit, you know full fucking well what you need is in your tool belt and everything else is horse shit.
I disagree.
You know what I mean?
I disagree.
You like a fat ass tool.
My dad has a fucking tool. He has a fucking workshop behind his house that started as like a small barn and is now like 3 barns worth of a workshop.
Jesus
and
Christ.
that motherfucker has so many tools. But you know what? I never ever had to visit a mechanic because I go to my dad's house and I'll tell you what, if the tool wasn't there, it didn't need fucking fixed because he had fucking everything. So it didn't matter what the fuck it was, dude. It didn't matter what you needed. He had a fucking tool for it,
But you got house moms that can fix everything with a butter knife and a coffee mug.
Valid point.
See,
Yeah.
Yes.
my dad is the biggest redneck engineer of all, and he relied totally on vice grips, duct tape. That was it.
Right.
The old adage, if it moves and it shouldn't, duct tape. If it doesn't move and it should, WD-40.
Yeah.
You're fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was the same way. He literally handed me vice grips, a hammer, and a screwdriver. And he said, let me tell you what, son. If you cannot repair something with just these 3 tools, you ain't worth a shit. And when I saw how many uses he had for that screwdriver that in no way is supposed to be used as a fucking screwdriver, I realized maybe he's not right about everything.
But anyways, back to Pathfinder, since we took that right turn to porn and now tools. I don't know how that happened.
Hey, what? Did we?
We hit porn because Bob was making sexual comments over there again, as usual.
Okay, all right.
As Bob does.
I'm Bob. I have to.
But yeah, the big thing that I was really interested in is this idea of this new game style. And then on top of it, too, I like the idea that they took and they made critical success and critical fails. So critical success is not only a natural 20, but if you beat the check by 10, it's a critical. And if you fail the check by 10, it's a failure. And it works on every check. And then on top of it, they have fucking success and critical success and critical failure effects for every action. So they basically brought back fumble tables. So, which makes me fucking happy as shit, dude. Like, that makes me happy as fuck.
Yeah, but if you're like Curt and you roll low for almost every single fucking thing, this spells disaster.
It's going to be interesting, man. Especially when you play the Alchemist and you fumble every time and blow up the party. Like, that'll make it fun.
Let's talk about Alchemist.
I mean,
like, that class.
I haven't looked into Pathfinder, but it sounds interesting. But it also sounds like it's going to be a bookkeeping.
I don't know. From what he was describing it, it's not. They got away from the Mathfinder shit. Just is how this guy described it. I don't know. I'm going to buy it. We're going to find out.
Right. Like, we'll play it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, I was like, wow, by 10, less than 10.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, it's pretty simple. I mean,
I smell Thaco.
If your check is if your check's a DC 15 and you roll a 5 or lower, you failed.
Yeah.
You don't just fail on a 1, you fail on a 5 to 1. Like
that would make combat more interesting. I could also see it making combat drag out.
Right.
Curtis and Trent, you guys are screwed.
Oh yeah, we're fucked. Which is why I want to play it. I want to play the most dangerous character class on the planet, which is Alchemist. Like, I want to be mixing shit that blows up in my face constantly.
And I definitely want to play the Barbarian so I can withstand the damage and being in the fucking blast radius when that shit goes sideways.
Apparently, Trent likes to play characters that have the hound effect.
Yeah, dude, I like to blow myself up or get burned. And, fuck you, Fly!
I think this is the rule set that I need to play my mage in.
Yes.
And just watch the world burn.
Yeah. I'm very excited, man. We're going to pick it up like in a couple of probably 2 weeks from now. I'm going to pick it up. And I definitely like, even if we threw together a one shot for it, if we just fucking one of us DM and throw together a one shot, see how
I'd
it goes.
be down with that. Kenny had an interesting suggestion in that we do a one shot where really nobody's meant to survive the night.
Yeah.
Like a Night of the Living Dead kind of situation where,
just put you through the most horrible shit possible and just see who comes out the other end alive.
The cabin in Evil Dead, somebody turns on the tape recorder and it goes fucking sideways.
Exactly. Yeah. Like everything just goes to shit, man.
Right.
I'd be excited to do that. I think it would be fun. So, Tim, what have you been up to, man?
Life. Oh, God. Kids.
Yeah. How was it? I know you guys birthed a human. I keep saying that. So.
We did. A little baby boy. He is a treat. The oldest boy is also a treat. They're doing well.
Way to CYA, man. CYA.
If he listens to this in 10 years, you didn't mention him, you're fucked.
You're fucked.
No, but life's been fun, interesting, hectic. Right. A lot of things in the air.
Right.
Working on creating worlds and stories, and games for our company.
Yeah.
So that does take up a lot of my space at night after everyone goes to sleep and I can be left alone. That's pretty much the hardest part is like not hearing little feet like, hey, help me with Minecraft.
Yeah,
hey,
right.
Let's build TNT. What about that other TNT? All right, we'll build fucking TNT and blow shit up. Why'd you blow that up? I like that tree. I thought we were just leveling the ground. I don't know. But no, other than that, it's been, everything's been pretty good. For the most part. Like, it makes it sound like not, like, hearing myself say that, it makes it sound like, no, everything's shit. And I'm just being like, well, for the most part, it's good. Really, everything's on fire. But no, actually, everything is really good.
Well,
this is fine.
I'm still breathing oxygen, so everything's good.
I have got to catch up on some TV shows, which is really nice. So, anyone out there not watching Glow?
Oh, I heard, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm in.
I grew up watching Glow.
Yeah, I remember it, dude. I remember it.
And the show, while some of the characters drive me batshit insane with just like, I just hate them. They come on screen, they talk. I'm just like, I don't
I
want.
can't hate any single character on it, so I'm curious to find out which one you hate.
The main character,
Ruth?
Allison
Ruth.
Brie?
You hate Ruth?
Oh,
How
Ruth.
can you hate Allison Brie?
Dude.
Like, it's the way her character is.
It's an awkward character.
Right. It's an awkward character that never, like, you watch this character, like, I'm at the beginning of season 3, so it's like 2 seasons of her like fumble fucking her way, where you're like, I know you know
Fumble
what
fucking.
I know you know what you want to do, but you're not going to do it. Why?
Right.
You know, but there's never that like that moral compass where why she won't do something. It's just
Right.
like, I'm going to be awkward, and then I'm going to remove myself from the situation, but then I'm going to insert myself in these other situations. So I like her character there, but I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
What the fuck? What are you doing? What is your purpose?
I get that 100% because I don't know, for maybe it's just because it's a woman and I'm not invested in that story, but I've never been able to enjoy so much of those Ben Stiller movies because that's what it is. You're watching this awkward character that I can't get behind because I'm like, none of that would be awkward for me. I don't give a fuck what people think. Like,
Right.
I hope her dad likes me. I don't fucking care. Like, and I absolutely hate those characters that are like hemming and hawing and shit. Like, I don't fucking enjoy that. It's not comedy to me.
Right.
You know, but for other people, I understand it is.
But it's an amazing show, and so it makes me go back and like look up old like Glow, like
Right. The original stuff that was on at like
You're
10
like-
o'clock on Fridays or some shit like
you
that.
have some like vague recollection of like what you think you saw, and you're like, wow, that was a lot worse than I thought it was.
Well, there's a good documentary on, like, there was a reunion from the Glow cast.
Yeah.
If you've,
I
if you've
haven't
not
seen
seen
it.
that, that's totally worth checking out because then you get to see what happened to him, what the real behind the scenes stuff was, and making those stories, and it's really fucking awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so you're all going to have to fill me in. Is it because you said Glow and I automatically went Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
now
made a
I'm on the same
Netflix.
page.
They made a Netflix series about it. About
It's not truly autobiographical. They changed some details, but a lot of it's fucking still in there.
Right,
Like,
right.
They were trained by one of the Guerreros. I think it was Chavo, right?
Yeah.
Real
The actresses were,
hardcore
yeah.
fucking Mexican. Yeah, and none of these girls were wrestlers. I mean, on the show, I think one of them had a background. Was like a
Welfare
stunt
Queen
one.
was.
Well, no, I
was
mean
Awesome
the real
Kong.
Glow girls.
Oh no, they were not trained.
Yeah, they were not trained at all. So they brought in a guy to train them. First thing out the gate to get their attention, he literally choked one of the girls out.
yeah.
Like, this shit's dangerous, and this is what this is about right now. And any one of you that ain't about this needs to step through those ropes and leave right fucking now. Like, that's
I'll tell you,
an
man.
attention grabber.
You know, I'm not a big. I don't watch wrestling anymore. I used to a lot. I've been considering going back to start watching it again. But like, back whenever I was really into it, when I was hanging out with Wes all the time and shit, dude. Like, I watched a lot of behind the scenes and documentary shit on that stuff, dude. Those guys. Yes, it's acting. Yes, it's drama. I don't care. Yes, they know who wins in the end. You know what? Whether you decide who is going to win the fight at the end or not, when you watch The Rock and fucking Nick Foley having a conversation with each other about their fight, and he's like, okay, I'm going to handcuff you. I'm going to hit you in the head with a steel chair. And then he hits him in the head with a steel chair like 23 times. I don't give a fuck.
Powerfully, yeah.
I don't give a fuck how scripted it is. That shit sucks. Like,
It was only supposed to be like 5 chair shots,
Yeah.
or something like that.
that was that Beyond the Mat
Absolutely, yeah.
documentary.
And I think it was Mick Foley, if I'm wrong, or maybe Diamond Dallas Page that said, when it comes to wrestling, you can fake a lot of shit, you can't fake gravity.
Oh yeah, exactly.
When you
Like I
watch those
remember,
guys, Sky, yeah.
like in Beyond the Mat, that which is a great documentary nobody's ever watched. It's fantastic. But when Nick Foley and the Mick Foley and the Undertaker are fighting each other in the steel cage, and the Undertaker,
Hell in a Cell.
the Undertaker
Hell in a Cell,
fucking
yeah.
choke slams him, and he fucking falls through the front of the cage broke. It wasn't
Yeah.
intended. And then like they have the Undertaker on there, and he's like, I thought I killed him.
Yeah.
He hit the ground, and I was like, he's fucking dead. There's
It's what
no
it
way
looks
he's
like.
alive.
He's a fucking corpse when he hits the bottom.
Well, then when you take him in the back, dude, his front tooth was poking through his lip. It came up through his lip and was coming out through his nose. His tooth.
There was a tack spot.
Yeah.
Where literally, that tack spot after the match, Mick had no idea what went on.
Yeah.
And he basically looked at Taker and went, "Did we do the tack spot?" And Taker's like, "Check your arm." They're embedded in there. Terry Funk, Mick's like really close friend, was in the audience. And you can see him come unglued and rush the EMTs while they're taking Mick to the back.
Yeah. Yeah, because Undertaker thought he killed him. He literally said, he's like, I thought he was dead. Because, that top of that cage is what, 15, 20 feet in the air?
It's 20 feet.
Something like that. And he fucking picks him up and slams him, and the cage breaks, and he falls all the way to 20 feet.
That's after he went off that cage down past the ring and through a table.
Yeah, through a table. Yeah, then climbed back up on top, and that shit happened, dude. Like, it was crazy.
It'll make you sick to watch that.
Oh,
footage,
no,
Mick,
dude.
but there was only one like it, man. There are no more.
I mean, you know what I love about Mick Foley, too, is the fact that it's Christmas, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
100%,
365 days a year at his house.
He's unusual.
Him and his family, it's literally decorated for Christmas every day of the year.
Well, his daughter's named Noelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very serious about this Christmas shit.
I know we're on a wrestling kick here, but I got to bring up Sacco. Because that was one of my favorite stories. Like, he was playing that Mankind character who was like the guy that wore like the mask, the Hannibal Lecter mask, and was all crazy and psycho.
I love that
And his
character.
kids were scared of it. So he's like, fuck it. And he put a sock puppet on his hand and named him Sacco. And Sacco was his guy that walked out to the ring with him. So it's because he was like, my kids were scared of it. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to do this. And he just came out with a sock puppet. And he choked people out with a sock puppet. Like,
The
oh, it's fucking
mandible
awesome.
claw.
The mandible claw. That was fucking great, dude.
You can actually get autographed Mr. Sacco's from Mick Foley.
Right.
Mr. Sacco. Yeah, fuck yeah. I love Mick, man.
Trent just spit.
Yeah, I did.
Well, the other thing about Foley and like the dangers inherently in wrestling, he's missing his ear.
Yeah.
Because they did a hangman spot in Germany, I think.
Where you're supposed to go through the ropes and twist. Like that second and third rope.
Yeah.
You kind of get bound up in it.
Yeah.
And hang there. You're supposed to hang bodily through it. Well, Mick slipped right through. And those ropes twisted around his neck. And when it came through his head, it just pulled his ear right off.
Well, no.
No?
The way I heard it was
That's gross.
people were.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
of the boys
There's
were-
not much. That's one of those self-defense methods, like, especially as a woman, that you need to know. One of the sensitive spots on a human being is the ear. It takes very little pressure whatsoever. Pull that right off. If you get in an
4 to 7
exchange with
pounds of pressure
somebody,
will rip an ear off.
yeah, it'll rip an ear right off and it'll
Less than-
disable your opponent.
Less than 10 pounds will disable a knee.
So-
in case you're wondering.
Yeah. So Mick, being the fucking comedian that he is, a lot of those wrestlers are just naturally some of the funniest fuckers on earth. That joke that he came up with, and like, you're disfigured, Mick. Like, they can't reattach this fucking thing. You'll be missing an ear. And he looked at the person interviewing him and said, well, now I never get to live my dream of being a carpenter. And that joke didn't make sense to me at all until I realized that what do carpenters do with pencils?
Oh, Jesus.
Isn't that a great gag?
That's fucking fantastic. And oh my God, did we take a left turn on this nerd podcast?
That was quite a
Yeah,
lot.
did you let us down that rabbit hole, Timmy? You brought up wrestling.
This is
I
Tim's
just
fault.
brought up Glow. So we'll segue. I enjoy Glow. I enjoy it. I look forward to those episodes.
And now we're
fantastic.
back on track.
Yeah, I think somehow.
No, let's go back on track with Bob's topic for the week. And I fucked up because I just thought, oh, okay, naturally that's an easy one I'll come up with.
Right.
Bob's first initial topic was, what's your favorite fictional character?
In fantasy literature.
Like, not top 5, not top 10, like fucking...
What's number one?
Yeah, what's
Motherfucker.
number 1? So, who can come up with one immediately?
I'll do the same one. So will she.
I will.
ahead.
They can't
Hermione
see-
Granger.
They can't see you raising your hands.
Yeah, no. Well, all of us can, so go for it.
Hermione Granger.
And why is Hermione Granger your favorite fictional fantasy character?
Because she's smart and she's
Sorry.
and she's good and she's kind of badass.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
I
man.
totally see myself as Hermione Granger. As you so blissfully pointed out the last podcast.
Oh, you mean that
fucked
she's,
up.
controlling and fucking knows of everything and way over prepared for every situation and thinks all boys are stupid and,
No, all my friends are guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking fantasy, like swords and sorcery.
Well, just any kind of fantasy, like Harry Potter's fantasy novels, fucking anything.
I mean, comic books. Do those
Go
count?
for it.
Yeah.
Mine was Tanis Half-Elven. Tanis Half-Elven is my favorite because he is the guy who he's the like Bob had mentioned in the last one, he's the hero who never wanted to be a hero. This guy locked between two worlds, not accepted in either, but not hated in either. That came out really weird. But, he's that guy that gets caught between the two worlds and, like, he just doesn't know what he wants to do and just always becomes this guy who has to look out for everyone, and he's a protector of everyone. And I love that character arc of Tanis throughout the whole thing, man. He's by far my favorite.
Tell the story about their relationship between him and Flint. You nailed that one last night.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was just like the relationship between those two. They've been traveling together for hundreds of years, like a century or so, and fucking just these two, like it's the weird. It's like the kid and the weird uncle. You know what I mean? It's not his dad, it's not his father figure, but it's like the weird uncle that you get along with, like the one that smokes pot with you and buys you beer when you're underage. Like that's what Flint reminds me of to fucking Tanis. He's just that guy. It's like I want to be here. I got your back, but whatever, dude. Let's get into some shit too while we're at it. He throws Tassoff into the mix too, and it's just fucking. I love the characters in that story, but Tanis is by far my favorite. Most people will pick Wrasslin, but Tanis is my favorite. And then on top of it, I got to throw a big shout out to Fizban because that is probably one of the funniest fictional characters I've ever read. So
Fireball.
What's that spell again? Oh yeah, Fireball. No.
All right, so we'll give the guys here that wasn't here last night a chance to think of one. And Curt, up to you.
My favorite right out the gate, if we're talking fantasy realm, out of those R.A. Salvatore books, which we're going to talk about a little later, is the character of Jadaxle Benair. In the world of Menzo Barons and Drow in particular, they all worship Lolth, who is a chaos goddess. And honestly, out of all of those figures that are all striving for her favor, I think Jadaxle might actually be her favorite because no one is more capable of more chaos than this guy that he plays every single side. It reminds me of, what's the guy? Angel Eyes from Good, Bad, and the Ugly, those Clint Eastwood movies. He was like an assassin.
Okay. Right.
Do you know what I mean? Jadaxle is kind of him with a lot more flair, He is the head of an assassin's guild, but at the same time, he just walks away from it like, I'm not about that anymore, And he can pop up any part of the world, and he just laughs at danger. He is a fun anti-hero. He's not a good person at any stretch of the imagination, but you can't help but kind of root for him. He's fun.
He's playing the longest long game of anybody in that series. He's got shit planned that's probably not going to come to fruition for another 200-300 years.
Right.
Did you just say fruitation?
I'm not going to correct Bob.
And I said it correctly.
I want to define fruitation.
I think you meant fruition.
I know, but I want to define. I want you to define fruitation for me because I want to know what the fuck.
Hey Bob,
that
you know
It's
that
a Snapple
photo
flavor.
You
I was thinking it's caramel apple pippity pop.
There you go.
It's now containing fruitation.
filled with fruitation.
The Lunatic Parade Podcast is brought to you by Pippety Pop. Send the check already.
No, Tim, what picture?
That you sent a picture where you're smiling really intently at the camera. You're wearing a black polo from a previous place of employment. I'll find it and show it to you. But now I just have.
You're going to have to.
fruitation above that. It will be up on. It'll be up on social media shortly.
All right, so we have to hashtag fruitation and fumblefuck from this evening. Those are the two things we have to make sure we hashtag out there.
We've been using fumblefuck for a generation now.
Exactly, and it needs to be a hashtag.
Absolutely.
I like that word. I've never heard that word. I like that word.
All right, Ben, you're up.
Well, if we're going pure fantasy, I have to go Captain America. As boring as it is, but he's a man with a shield. I mean, let's face it, he's fighting gods. I mean, in the Infinity Gauntlet comic book, there comes down to a moment where he's killed Hulk, he's, decimated all of Earth's heroes, and there goes Cap. Just squaring off toe to toe with him.
Gods in my world don't dress like that.
No. I mean, there's also one bit in the Secret Wars, the original 12-part series, where they're like, well, we're stuck on this planet that the Beyonder created, told to fight the bad guys. We got to pick a team captain. And everyone starts nominating Cap, and Wolverine's like, that guy can't do anything. I'm not following him. And Thor's just like, look, I'll follow that man to the gates of hell.
Right.
He's leader. And when you have the Norse god of thunder backing you,
right,
who's
that's
literally
something.
been to the gates of hell.
Yeah. I mean, that's something.
Yeah, no, that's a good call, man. That's a very good call. I like the idea of Cap.
All right, Timmy.
Oh shit!
Were you just trying to Google one?
No. I wasn't. I was not Googling one.
He gets his My Little Pony characters mixed up.
I do. Rainbow Dash, you are the best. Sparkles,
Brony.
No, it's a hard toss up of my favorite fictional characters. It's gonna be twofold. It's probably Admiral Adama by Edward James Olmos from the new Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen him play that character, it is literally awe-inspiring. Like when you're like, I'll follow him to hell. Right. I don't care.
Right.
Like because his character in the show just has so much. For a show that only had 4 seasons, his character has so much range and emotion. You know, there's one of my favorite scenes is there's an explosion in one of the water tanks on the Battlestar Galactica, and water's being launched into space.
I remember that one.
And Colonel Saltai comes up, and he's getting
That's the drunk ass guy, right?
right. Yeah, he's the
Imagine that's your legacy.
He's all fucking pissed and shit. Yeah.
he's the CEO or the CO.
CO. Yeah.
CO. So he orders the bay doors to be shut to contain the fire, and fucking the head of maintenance is like arguing with him, like he only needs so many seconds to get his people out of there, and he's like fuck, and like after people get jettisoned into space and shit, like the mechanic comes up and he's like basically like trying to give the rundown on the CEO to Adama, and Adama's like, if it was my call, I would do it too. And you're just like, goddamn, even though you saw that he wouldn't do it, he's still stuck up for the decision
Right.
of his CO. And his character just over time, like he's got to play with emotions of, you know, having lost a son, having a son that's currently like the CAG in the Battlestar Galactica, you know, having personal relationships with other flight members. For anyone that hasn't seen that show, that came out like a decade ago?
2004?
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
That's a really small sum up of him. And then my other one is Alita from Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, good call.
She was pretty awesome.
She is, and I liked her because if you read the manga, like
Somebody hand me a regular lighter, a Bic lighter.
Hup. Nice.
Failed. You fumble fucked that one.
Now,
dude.
would that be considered a -10 on a check?
I don't
No,
think so.
because the lighter would have exploded according to Pathfinder's new rules.
Or hit him in the head.
oh, there's a lot of hate going on in this room. The hate train is pulled up.
I'm telling you, it is, dude. Like, I don't know, man.
But anyways, Battle Angel Alita, her in the manga, her character defines that Born Yesterday trope.
Right.
You know, so if you take Fifth Element, Lilu Dallas is a Born Yesterday trope. Like,
Yeah.
she's this incredibly powerful being that's designed to, you know, save the universe, save the world, but she can't do it without the help of, you know, Corbin Dallas.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis's character. Like she needs him to activate that special power, and it's just that Born Yesterday trope. Like, I'm a strong woman, but I need a man to help me.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlock my full potential.
Right.
And like, it's a lot of things that you see just in general, but the Battle Angel Alita character like smashes that early on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like when Ito's fucking like rebuilding her and trying to like, you know, this is daughter 2.0,
Right.
you know, and she fucking like snaps at him in the book. It's like, I'm not your fucking plaything. I'm not
Right.
a doll. I'm not your daughter. And she knows, and she goes through that entire series just like, you know, help from like no one. She's doing her thing, what she wants to do to, you know, progress herself.
It's all right, dude. We got
Hello.
we got merits all over the place.
But yeah,
tonight.
so those are probably the two characters.
Now, did you see the Battle Angel Alita movie?
I did.
I
Yeah.
was really happy with it, man. I thought it was very good.
I enjoyed it. The part where she gets frustrated with Ito, and in the manga where she really confronts him about not being a plaything or a
Right.
doll, like that's there, but it's like more of a look, and she like punches the table.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and that's it. I wish they would have put that in there because I think that would have resonated a lot more.
Right.
You know,
But I really like the scene with the other hunters in the hunters bar, where like she just fucking kicks the shit out of everyone. It's just like basically fucking, you know what I mean? You're either with me or you're about to get fucked. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
that was great. That was a great scene, man.
You know, I really hope that they get to make another one. It's one of those things. It did okay in America. It did really well worldwide.
Right. And
DVD sales sold out for the first 2 weeks. So I'm hoping with all of that.
Everything I've been reading online says they are going to do a sequel because, you know what, James Cameron was a producer on that. If he wants a fucking sequel, nobody's going to tell him he can't have a sequel. So that motherfucker's like, no, we're going to have a sequel. Plus, Robert Rodriguez directed it, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what I thought, man. I mean, it was,
I want everybody to
didn't know
scroll
that.
back
Is
like
Danny
2
Trejo
minutes.
in it?
He might be somewhere.
you want us to what?
I want everybody that's listening to the podcast to scroll back 2 minutes because Tim just admitted he was a strong woman.
I did.
Yeah, he said, I'm a strong feminine woman.
Ain't judging, man. That's not how we do it.
I may have.
I'm lost.
It's all right.
Well, yeah, no, man. Cool. Who else has to go? Bob.
Just me. So back to my round robin from last night. So from Harry Potter, we're going to go with Dumbledore
Okay.
because throughout that whole series, he was a mentor, but he was a dick at it. I mean, he completely ignored Harry for like 4 movies, other than like 6 words.
Yeah, right.
He's like, "Hey, you're doing great, and you're on your own again," and fucking gone. It's like-
Right.
so, Dumbledore there, from Dragonlance. I loved Fizban. I actually based a lot of my powers of my mages around Wrasslin because he's the quintessential wizard.
Yeah.
But my favorite character in there has got to be Sturm.
Right. I knew you were going to say Stern.
Yes, because I said it yesterday.
Yeah, but even yesterday, I
But
knew
you
you were
know
going to say Sturm.
yesterday-
you know?
And like I said, there are people in the room that have not read the book, so I'm not going to spoil this. But that one scene, and if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. It makes me rage quit the fucking book for about a day and a half. I slam the motherfucker down and walk away because it's
Yeah, it's a heartfelt scene, dude, and on top of it too, and like those books are just so well read or so well written that you get so attached to those characters. Like I found myself so attached to that group of characters, probably more than any other novel I've ever read or any other series I've ever read. Like Tracy Hickman and fucking Margaret Weiss are fucking. They're amazing at that shit.
And I've got an annotated chronicle of that book,
Right.
And they talk about that scene and how they both fucking hate that scene.
Right.
It had to happen,
Right.
But neither one of them wanted to write it.
Right, exactly.
All right, Curt. Fuck, who did Curt?
Kurt did Drizzt. Or no, not
right.
Drizzt, but the other.
Jadaxle.
I did Jadaxle.
Jadaxle.
Yeah.
Shit, who did I say yesterday? Did I say
You said Drizzt.
I said Drizzt.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Drizzt.
Yeah.
Wow. I've had some alcohol tonight. It's all right. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I think I'm on number 3 or 4. Fuck it.
Bitch pops.
Yeah, bitch pop.
Yeah.
Drizzt is your quintessential ranger. He is literally from the most abusive home you can fucking imagine.
Well, not only that, like he traded It's unlike any character that I know of. I don't know that there's another character like Drizzt because it's such a curious predicament that he's in. He left the most abusive environment possible for a chance at maybe the slimmest of margins that it was going to work out okay on the surface world, where no matter what, no matter his accomplishments or merits, when people see him
Everybody
as a
hates
black-skinned drow, they're gonna fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Because on the surface world they're left vulnerable to drow who come up to the surface and slaughter people, women, children, everybody. They are the most vile creatures in creation, and he'll never be able to prove himself enough that he's welcome up there.
And it's still better than what he left, which is the fucked up part.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Curt, our note taker over there, did I miss anybody from last night?
no.
That was all three. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if we're throwing Ben's in there, let's see who in that. Honest to God, in that world, it would have to be Thor. I am a Greek mythology and Roman mythology, both of them, because he's effectively the same person. Let's not kid ourselves.
But he's Norse, not Greek and Roman.
Yeah, that too.
Three.
Yeah. And
The dwarf messed up on the Norse mythology.
I think the dwarf has been
It's that
drinking
kind of
from
night,
his
man. We've said
special
from the
love.
outset,
I think
we're
the
going to make some
I
mistakes,
think
okay?
the dwarves had a couple of meads tonight.
Lunatic Parade Podcast brought to you by Bitch Pops.
Yay! That's fucking great.
Out of that, it had to be Thor. He's just straight up my favorite character, and he's a god.
Yeah.
And
Not an infallible one.
oh no,
No, very human.
He's still, in most worlds, he's still mortal. He can be killed, but his lifespan is effectively infinite if he doesn't fuck it up. Roll right up to Ragnarok. Who's talking?
Right. Well, right on, man. Awesome. What's next, man? Let's talk. You know what? Let's not go from the list. Fuck that list. You know what? What do you guys think about the fucking Spider-Man nonsense?
It's a bunch of fucking bullshit.
They need to fix this shit quick.
Stormy
No,
wakes the fuck up.
It's it is what it is. Like, Spider-Man: Homecoming is Sony's highest grossing movie.
It was fucking really good.
Right. But when it comes down to dollars, you're going to want a bigger cut of that
What
pie.
was Homecoming or Far From Home? I thought Far From Home was their highest grossing because it made over $1 billion. Are you talking about the most recent Spider-Man?
Yes.
Okay, that's Far From Home.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
See,
it's all right. All right, dude. No, we are allowed. We are entitled to make mistakes. Bob just said Thor
I
was
might be
Greek.
the only person that's excited about Spider-Man returning
Fruitation.
solely to Sony just because maybe we'll see a return. A bone saw. This bone saw's ready. Oh man, I know Randy Macho Man's dead.
I was
but
going to say we can't see a return
If
of
anyone
Bonesaw.
out there has heard Joe Manganiello's Macho Man
Oh, yeah,
impression, it's flawless. Somebody please cast him as Bonesaw and throw him in there.
But my question is, if we reboot Spider-Man again, is Aunt May going to be like 32 years old?
She does seem to be getting younger and younger.
I don't think.
I have never wanted to bone Aunt May before, ever. And it's really confusing.
I don't think they're planning on rebooting it.
Yeah,
They're just keeping Tom Holland. It's just Kevin Feige's not going to produce it.
Right. Like, they're not getting rid of it. They're going to keep Tom Holland and that Spider-Man universe to
Right.
Sony because they just want a bigger cut of the pie.
Yeah.
And that's literally, when you read everything, that's all it boils down to.
Yeah.
They just want more money. They're like, this is our most successful film we had. Everything we've turned out recently is not this successful.
Yeah.
We don't want to share this money.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's would I like to see him stay? Yeah, but I think too that, like, it's one of those things where I think it can work in the benefit of comic fans everywhere, because then Sony can run off and do Spider-Man, and maybe we'll get a proper,
Green Goblin would be nice.
I was thinking like Sinister Six.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Craven.
Now, here's my question. What the fuck are they going to do? Because the movie, the Far From Home, was like where it was bringing Spider-Man into Tony Stark's position. So what do you think's going to happen there?
Well, I mean, you could easily write that away by saying at the end of it all, he decided to hand Edith off to somebody else,
Right?
And then the whole Tony Stark thing's gone.
Today in the news, Stan Lee's daughter actually said that she didn't know how anybody could have disrespected her father's memory more than Disney and Sony in this dispute.
Right.
I think she did an excellent job. She actually had charges of elder abuse levied against her.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to steer clear because of that subject. Because it was like I had heard it, but then Stan Lee came out and said that wasn't true.
Yeah, exactly.
I
yeah.
hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
part,
like he
but-
came out and actually had a video post that was completely.
He's like, nothing
made
ever
up.
happened. Like everything is
Okay.
fine. Like
Right. There was something about like somebody in their circle was taking money from Stan Lee,
Yeah.
and if I remember correctly, maybe that person put that out there.
Okay.
And Stan came out and was like, "Whoa, slow the fuck down."
Misinformation.
Yeah,
Awesome.
slow your roll. I think Sony. The thing is I think unfortunately, not really unfortunately, because it's at the behest of having all these amazing fucking Marvel films, but I think unfortunately that Hollywood and geek culture now believes that you can't make a good comic book movie without Kevin Feige.
Well,
and I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I think you can make a great comic book movie without him.
I'll be the counterpoint to this. Like, you can. And there has
Great
been
counterpoint.
there has been
Nailed it.
there has been some examples of like great comic book movies without him.
Yeah.
But his long run that he has of great comic book movies and how everybody else is trying to emulate that and still like not being able to raise the bar to that level,
See, I disagree with you there because I think Wonder Woman and Aquaman were equally good movies compared to the rest of those.
But when you look at like the DC
That's
universe
Chris Nolan.
right? But when you look at it as a whole, like you're like,
It's because of Chris Nolan, though, because Nolan was so successful with the Batman films that DC said we need to keep with this motif, and they tried to apply it to the rest of the superheroes, and it didn't work. And then they figured out, okay, let's make a superhero movie, where shit's campy and corny and fucking fun and filled with hope, and no more emo Superman, and fucking Wonder Woman was fucking amazing.
right?
And I want to urge you too. Don't discount the Shazam movie that came out.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was
Shazam
amazing.
was awesome.
It really, really has it all. Like it's got a little bit of that dark element to it. It pulls at your heartstrings. But for the most part, it's just fun and it's funny and it's giddy. It's a comic book movie.
My favorite scene from that movie was taken straight from the comics because I remember seeing it in the comics. Is when Billy Batson runs off the roof and he jumps up in the air off the building and screams Shazam, and the lightning bolt comes down and hits him.
Oh man!
And that scene, I was like, holy shit! My hair was standing up on my arms again.
If you're
I was
not
like,
8 years old, when
I was
you
like, that
see
came
that
right
scene
out of the
all
fucking
over,
comic, dude. Like that was awesome.
I love it.
But like, I think that it'll be good having Spider-Man out of the MCU.
I agree.
It'll let Sony run with it in a direction that they want to run with it.
Right.
But it also it gives that it gives Marvel and Disney that oh, you took Spider-Man away? Well, fuck you. Here comes the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I know, but they fucked up the Fantastic Four so many goddamn times. I don't know if they'll get it right this time.
I love
reboot
the
number
first
4?
two.
So did I. I enjoyed
So
them.
the only one that I thought that they fucked up was that last one.
Well, that Josh Trank, though, who did that movie, even he put out a tweet. It's been since deleted, but whenever he released that film and it got banned because it was terrible, I watched it. It was fucking awful. He posted in a tweet, "I wish you guys could have seen the movie that I made."
Right.
Which makes me believe that fucking Fox came in and said, "Chop, chop, chop," and left the best parts of that movie on the cutting room floor. Because I think he tried to take a much darker twist, a much darker take on the Fantastic Four. You could just see by how he created Doom. Like Doom was kind of a vile villain, like a violent, like just villainous. I can't think of the word I'm looking for here. He was much more darker, more psychopathic to me than like he is in what I remember from the comics. And it's like he was headed down this dark road, and you could see it. I could see the movie that he made. Unfortunately, Fox cut the shit out of it. We didn't get it because they wanted a PG-13 rating, not an R, and they didn't want to go down that path. And I think people make mistakes like that.
The Fantastic Four was a much darker comic.
Some of it, yeah. Certain runs of it, sure.
Yeah, especially during the John Byrne issues.
Right.
Where literally there was just, that one panel where Sue Storm's pregnant and he's got to get, Reed goes on a tear to get Dr. Octopus to help deliver the baby. And he spends the entire episode or issue fighting Doc Ock.
Right.
Let's face it, Dr. Octopus. And he
How dare you?
he gets back and he's like, all right, I got him. And the surgeon just puts his hand on Reed's shoulder and says, I'm sorry, the baby died.
Yeah.
Just that's the end of the issue. And then there was another issue
Wow, that's
where
somber as fuck.
Yeah.
Way to depress everybody, Ben.
There was dude, the worst one was coming up. During the John Byrne issues, they had one where a kid, to emulate the Human Torch, his favorite hero, covered himself in kerosene and jumped off a building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was during the Secret Wars 2, and they just kind of beyondered that away, so it never happened. So you can
Beyondered is to be used as a verb in this.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
beyondered, fruitation, and fumble fucked.
Goddamn.
But back to Sony, though, with Spider-Man real quick. One thing I am very excited about. Well, number one, I just want to say that, like I said, you can make a good movie, good comic book film without Kevin Feige. Number two, I think Tom Holland has enough chops now under playing Spider-Man that I think he can carry that movie by himself. They don't need the Tony Stark shit. They don't need the other people. He's perfectly fine. And number three, I'm hoping we get to see what you were talking about earlier, and that is Tom Hardy's Venom end up in fucking this fucking universe. Because there's a perfect example of Sony making a spectacular fucking Venom picture. A spectacular
Fuck
comic
yeah,
film.
Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy
Dude,
coming
I
back with
can't
fucking
wait,
Carnage.
dude.
Oh my god.
Fucking Woody Harrelson is fucking Carnage, dude. That is going to be amazing. Like, amazing. I'm fucking so excited for that shit.
The new Carnage series that is out.
What, new Carnage? New Carnage comics?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've
Where
heard
he's
about this.
like Carnage is like essentially like a god.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Oh, that's terrible. That's a bad idea. Jesus Christ.
Well, Carnage had one of my favorite. I think it was actually a Spider-Man book. I can't remember if it was a Spider-Man issue or a Carnage issue. It was one of my favorite comic books ever, where it was just there were no words. It was no words in the entire comic, and I think it was like taking place inside of Carnage's head, and it was basically
Not a good place.
It was
Not
just
a good
basically
place.
panel after panel of him killing Spider-Man in different ways. The whole book. That's all it was. It was literally panel after panel of him killing Spider-Man. The whole book. I was like, this is the greatest comic I've ever seen in my life, dude. Like,
Soon to be reprinted by Marvel.
But yeah, so that I don't know. I think we're gonna be fine. I do agree with you. Kevin Feige is good at what he does.
Right.
He's definitely perfected it. But I think that they can do. I think people can do just as well without him. So I'm excited to see what happens with it. And you know what? Fuck Disney and their monolithic fucking take over the world bullshit. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you fucking Nazi mouse.
Well, I mean, right now there's rumored, so I'm kind of on board because like my favorite comic book character, me and like 15 other motherfuckers out there, Moon Knight is going to become a series.
Oh, they're gonna do it as a series.
And I'm like, I really want that character. I want that character to enter the MCU, but as a villain.
Yeah.
That turns because he's so like
he's a villain, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all I know about it, thank you, Ben, by the way, for letting me borrow this graphic novel of Moonlight. That my introduction to this character is Moon Knight as written by Warren Ellis. So I don't know if is that traditional Moon Knight? Is that really fucking Moon Knight?
So like Moon Knight, the way
he's a fucking crackpot. Like he's
like
he's not
Moon Knight,
okay. Like this,
Right, no, he's a psychopath.
this character's not okay.
I can't remember the issues or who wrote it. They brought in that
Conchu?
the detective author.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
he did a run maybe about like
for Tim.
maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, where Moon Knight came back because Moon Knight's a character that like comes in and leaves in series. Like,
Well, before you get going there, explain Moon Knight because I don't think Stormy even has any idea, but I think she's gonna love Moon Knight.
so Moon
Yeah,
Knight,
I have no clue.
All right, so Moon Knight started off as Marvel's answer to Batman.
Yeah.
Ooh, yay, Batman! Batman.
No, it's not what you
Pump
think.
the brakes. Hold on.
All right, so Moon Knight started off, and
Pump
he
the
was
bat
a
brakes there.
mercenary, and he was out helping doing an archaeological dig.
No, he was wounded near like an archaeological dig.
Okay.
And then like basically stumbles upon Egyptian god,
Khonshu.
and then like becomes that god's like earthly avatar,
Right.
to save him. And then when the moon comes out, he gets like superpowers. But he's not only is he a mercenary, he's also a billionaire.
And
Right.
he's also a taxi driver.
Right, so he to be on the street, he has different personas that he'll take on, so he can like keep an eye on his city, you know.
Kind of like Batman and Matches Malone.
Yeah, and so like he'll be in the city, and I'm sorry, derailed. But that's pretty much. I'm gonna move this mic out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead and push it back, man. I'll just turn you up a little bit because our vocals are all fucked anyways.
So that's basically Moon Knight. Well,
he's Marvel's answer to Batman.
right, and no one really cared for Moon Knight. He made his appearance in Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah!
And then he got like several runs where they tried to make him like an A-list character.
He was part of the Avengers West Coast.
Right, like that's where characters go to die.
Yeah.
Like if your
Yeah.
if your character is sent there, if your favorite character, that's the Marvel funeral. We're not going to kill them off,
Right.
but they're always going to be referenced.
It's like when you end up in the clearance rack at Walmart.
Yeah. I mean,
Justice League Europe.
I like the clearance rack at Walmart.
Justice
All right,
League
so,
Europe.
like, so we're gonna go
Brexit,
into-
motherfuckers.
So fast forward into the 2000s, and Moon Knight comes back, and they get this detective author, which I can't remember his name right now, but he takes over, and Moon Knight is fucking insane. So like he loses his shit at one point where he fights the Bushman. Wait, is it Bushman or?
Bushmaster.
He was really into 80s porn.
I was trying not to get it confused. I was like, no, it's not like Taskmaster.
Hey, Bushmaster, the guy who was the villain. Well, I don't think it's the proper representation of Bushmaster in season 2 of Luke Cage, but I know that was the villain's name. But I don't think that villain was actually who Bushmaster was.
Well, anyways,
Sorry, didn't mean to just-
Moon Knight flips his shit and cuts his face off.
Yeah.
Oh, so he does like Joker.
Like
Right,
no,
remember
cuts
that
it
Batman
and rips
movie?
it off. So like, Moon Knight goes on a drug binge, and he's all fucked up on like after getting his ass kicked.
Mind you, this is a comic book. Kids,
Yeah.
stay tuned for the next episode, kids.
Hey, Johnny, want some sea monkeys?
And he's haunted. He's haunted by the Bushmaster. Like the Bushmaster is like a psychosis.
Yeah.
And he basically is like always telling him like your God left you. He doesn't love you anymore. Everyone hates you. And he's like hurt his friends, like crippled his like Alfred Butler type guy named Frenchie.
Literally was named Frenchie.
Right.
Had like a John Waters mustache, bad accent.
Yeah.
Central
So
casting.
Moon Knight in this is always a broken character that suffers from like no one really knows like multiple personality disorders, many versions of psychosis. No one even knows if he's like wealthy or not. He's just a guy that's crazy that's running around the streets just beating the shit out of people in the name of justice. Like when Civil War came out, like they sent Punisher to him and was like, yo, if you get in Civil War, I've got instructions to take you out. Like no one wanted him. Like he is such a loose cannon and he's so broken that no one wanted him. They were just like, Moon Knight, stay the fuck away. And his like only friend kinda is Spider-Man, which Spider-Man calls him Mooney,
Right, yeah.
and he fucking hates it.
Yeah, but let's face it, it's Spider-Man.
It is,
I mean,
exactly.
He's the dude everyone loves.
But
And
yeah,
Stormy, this comic is so fucking bloody because this guy he uses shuriken that are moon shaped, so it's like me Lucky Charms, but it'll fucking kill you with them. He's just like dum 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 dum.
but yeah, I haven't read the Warren Ellis.
Oh,
It
pass
is-
it to pass
It
it
is,
to you next.
that's my first, like I said, it's my first exposure to Moon Knight, which I was like, okay. For years, I would relegate Moon Knight to the way I do the band Rush. Like
Don't
growing
be
up,
hating on Rush, dude.
well, hold on, just hold on a minute. I recognize the musical genius of Rush. I hear it. I hear the music. But the moment their singer opens his mouth and he's like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? And survey says, fuck out of here. And that's the way I am with Moon Knight. I can't get past even the cover as a kid. I look at that comic and I'm like, yes, this guy haunts and stalks the night. He's dressed in white head to toe. Dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Because he wants to be killed.
No,
Yeah.
like this is just dumb.
I mean, in the Warren Ellis comics, he actually says, "No, I dress in all white so they can see me coming." It's the exact
Right.
like flip of Batman.
So
where it's
I was fucking wrong, and I get it. Like after reading this Warren
Right.
Ellis treatment of this character, I was so fascinated and entertained that I do want to learn more. I'm gonna admit that right here. I was wrong.
Warren Ellis can fix almost any comic book.
Right.
Did anyone read the 4-part Dr. Druid series?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Druid?
Yeah.
What the
Dr.
fuck is
Druid.
that?
Nobody fucking read that.
Is that
I
like
did.
is that like the Kmart version of Swamp Thing? Like,
Kmart versus Swamp Thing is Man Thing.
you have Transformers and fucking GoBots. You got Swamp Thing and Dr. Druid.
No, Dr. Druid's technically the like discount version of Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. I knew it was a discount something.
Like, he literally was dressed in like red tights at one point, had like the balding, ponytail thing going on, and actually led the Avengers at a very dark point in the book.
It sounds like it.
It's when they first opened up West Coast and they all moved to the West Coast. And they're like, "What? Here, Dr. Druid."
Yeah, it was like Dr. Druid, She-Hulk, the Wasp.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it was like really bad.
Is that like the Northeast? That's like the Cleveland version of the Avengers.
The Great Lakes Avengers. That was the thing. Remember that?
It's like where the deep went in fucking boys. You're going to
we're
fucking
not
Cuyahoga.
Here in beautiful Sandusky.
You're just the fish guy.
Exactly.
I swear, someone from that area wrote that book because all they were like, "Oh, we got Cedar Point. It's the best."
Hey, at least we're not Detroit.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank goodness.
I'm telling you,
but
man.
he actually deconstructed this kind of just C-list goober of Dr. Druid and leaned heavily on druidic practices and voodoo and
It's the real
Really?
shit, not like all those other Druid comics.
exactly. And if it
Because
makes
there's
you-
so many of them.
Yeah, they fucked it all up. But this one's gonna get it right.
Continuing with the fun train in comic books, Warren Ellis ended it with Dr. Druid being burned into dumpster by Damien Hellstorm.
Nice. That.
Like literally his
That's
corpse
awesome.
thrown into dumpster and set on fire.
Well, there you go.
Maybe that was just a way of saying this comic is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, fuck.
You know, you saying you mentioning red tights just made me think for a second though, because I've been drinking. Has anybody watched Jessica Jones season 3?
Not yet.
I never
Yes.
watched it. Yeah.
Nope.
One of my favorite things that Netflix did, and I hope Marvel keeps this up whenever they take all these series over. One of my favorite things that Netflix did was how they keep throwing homages to the fucking corniness of comic books.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
when Luke Cage, when they
Oh,
show him
yeah.
after he looks at himself, he's got like the gold crown, the yellow tank top on. He's like, oh, fucking sweet Christmas. You know what I mean?
It's not his fault that his character was created in the 70s.
I know, yeah,
It's
no.
not.
But I love the fact that they have that throwback to
Yeah,
it.
me too.
And in this season, Trish, who becomes Hellcat, there's a scene where she's like fucking looking to like she realizes she needs a costume, and she's like because people are recognizing her, so she's like trying on these different costumes at the costume shop, and then the very last time, it's her in like yellow spandex with a big purple mask on, and she's like, oh fuck no, dude, like.
All right, so since you brought up Jessica Jones and we're doing loose logic train here,
Yeah.
David Tennant is a fucking world treasure.
I agree, dude.
Like,
That guy is him. Like the first season of Jessica Jones, I was watching. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I dig Luke Cage. I'm like, I dig Luke Cage. This is cool. I want to punch this Kristen Ritter girl in the face because I just can't stand her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just, and no disrespect to her, but I mean, it's just like, I can't stand it when I can see people acting. Like, that's something that bothers me. Like, when I can see you playing the character, that bothers me, And she just wasn't doing it. I'm just like, man, this is not working. And then Kilgrave showed up, and I went, holy fucking shit, dude. Like, that show went from, okay, I'm about to stop watching you, to holy fucking shit, this is one of my favorite fucking television shows that Netflix has ever done. Like, that guy is a fucking genius. And he was fucking, what was his name in fucking Harry Potter and fucking Goblet of Fire. He was the guy that was polymorphed into fucking Mad Eye Mooney.
Yeah.
David Tennant played him.
Yeah.
I can't think of his
I
name.
don't know
Wasn't
his
he a
name, but I
doctor?
know-
So
He was a doctor. That's where he got
is,
most of his fame was as doctor.
I just want to touch how funny I keep reminded of the whole time.
I
I'm
don't
thinking,
know.
11.
On the
I
podcast
have no idea.
Nerd Poker Brian Posehn has, where he and his comedian
Sorry,
buddies
dude.
play Dungeons and Dragons, Blaine Capatch plays a fucking druid whose name is Dr. Uid. It fucking kills me every time they mention that name.
On that note, I think we should break so I can have a cigarette and pee. How's that sound?
And break.
You all like are shocked, but this is us on a normal fucking night.
Yeah, this is what we
our-
sound like all the time. All right, we're going to break. And here, with a brief word from our sponsor, Pippety Pop, we have our good friend Curt.
That's right. You know, Pippety Pop has been on my training table since I was a young lad. It's crunchy, it's delicious, and what the fuck? Who wants to live forever, right? Pippety Pop.
Pippety Pop.
Official snack of the Lunatic Parade Podcast.
Yay.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, my goodness. So we are recording, by the way.
All
Now
right,
we're back. After we've all consumed enough Pippety Pop, that we're back and ready to go.
Yay.
That was Pippi, the Pippity Pop elf.
All right, now we have to make a character called Pippety.
God! Didn't you have a plan for a halfling named Pippety or something?
Gordo Pippety Pop.
Gordo Pippety Pop.
Gnome Ranger.
The Gnome Ranger, yeah.
So, having been gone, listening to the podcast, you guys have dabbled across many things.
Yeah.
Not a lot into the video game territory.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of that has to come from the fact that most of the people here at this table don't play a lot of video games. Like these two play mobile games, but nobody plays console games and PC games except like you and I do.
Okay.
So that's why I've just strayed away from it because I want to make sure we stay in conversations everybody can partake in.
Okay.
You know, so
Get to my level, motherfucker.
you're here, Tim. Let's talk about video games.
Are
What do you
trying
wanna
be a
talk about?
segregist?
Well, see, I told him because I talk about mobile games a lot. I told him to go ahead and talk about it because I
Right.
talk about it and they don't play video games.
Right, but Bob
it's
does.
something I think that we need to.
Bob does play mobile games, so there's at least somebody to interact back with you.
Yeah, but I'm not playing 5 of them at once.
But regardless,
I know I'm a crack addict.
let's talk about, if we're going to talk about video games, the first one I want to talk about, Tim, is Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
Because you and I brought this up in our episode 2 a little bit. We haven't gone a deep dive on it. So who else here knows about Cyberpunk 2077?
Oh, I do.
Night City.
Dude, fuck yeah. Keanu.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so
Okay,
mic down,
Nice
mic
catch.
down.
merit. You have to get the balance right on it. So you have to shift that. You have to lift that mic up just a little bit, tilt it up just a little bit. There you go.
Beauty.
That should work. And you got to have to make sure it's pointed forward. Just there you go.
It'll be fine.
It's fine.
No, like, all right, so watching, what was it, E3 or
Yeah.
CES?
Yeah, E3.
E3. When Keanu came out, like, that was great. That
Yeah. I love Keanu Reeves, man. Come on.
It didn't really, like, we're in, like, Keanu area right now, pop culture,
Yeah.
where, like, whatever he does, like, he just shows up, like, hey.
Yeah.
And everybody loses their goddamn mind.
Yeah.
But I didn't care.
The motherfucker is John Wick. I mean,
Like,
come on.
he came out and it's like, I'm going to be in Cyberpunk. And everybody's like, yay.
Yeah.
You know, they lost their mind, but I was like,
I think it's awesome, but it doesn't make me any more excited. about
right.
the
Like,
game.
I was
Yeah.
like, all right, that'll be neat that he's a character in it. But, like, I just want,
He-
I want to play the game.
Yeah.
He's supposed to play a major like lore character, to
Right.
that.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
You know, and that'll be neat. But at no point did that ever, like,
Become a selling point.
right. Like,
Right.
I was on board. Like,
Yeah, but they keep trying to do that with shit, though. You know what I mean? Like, you saw it with Death Stranding. It was all about fucking, what's his name? Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, him being in it. And then they did it, another one at E3 was the release of the new Ghost Recon that has John Bernthal as the main character. So it's like they're trying to use celebrities to sell these games. But it's like, it bothers me a little bit because video games, when they have celebrities in them, are awesome. But they don't need them. You know what I mean? Like Days Gone, which is one probably my favorite video game of at least the last year. Fucking has no actors in it that are famous, but those characters, I actually started writing an article about this, those characters are so intense and so well done that I was drawn into that game like a Netflix series. Like, I wanted to continue playing it, not because of wanting to play the game, but because of wanting to see where the story was going, because I was so attached to this Deacon St. John and his wife Sarah, and like this battle and this search for her and all the shit that happens in that game. And it's like, you don't have to have a celebrity to make that happen. All you need is good writing.
Well, I think now you've gotten to a point in video games where there's so much, and it's a battle with microtransactions, and now the new term life service.
Yeah.
You know, where they've got to add more selling points because
Right.
There's so much money wrapped up into it that if you can have Keanu Reeves as a extra bonus or a DLC later on down the road,
you're guaranteed to sell X number of units.
Right.
Like, and
I don't think Project Red is going to ever do like DLCs like that. And if they do, it'll be like The Witcher, where it's almost a whole extra game.
Yeah, like CD Projekt Red is like, I think we touched on it before.
Yeah.
They've entered that, like what Blizzard used to be, when you'd be like, hey, when's that coming out? And they're like, when it's fucking done.
Yeah, exactly. Which is awesome. I love that, because do it right and give me something amazing,
Yeah, but I think CD Projekt Red is, with Cyberpunk, it's very, it's going to be story focused.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you're going to play a game where you're not a hero. You're not out to save the world. You're out to fucking save yourself.
You're out to make some money to keep yourself fucking alive, dude.
Right. And like, so you're playing this anti-hero with no, like, you're never going to beat the corporations.
Right.
You're never going to save Night City.
Let's give everybody, Tim, give everybody a little, because I know like Stormy is not familiar with Cyberpunk and what it's about. So give us a brief overview of Cyberpunk 2077.
Just think of like Blade Runner utopias where corporations like run everything, and you are just. How would you explain this, Ben? Like
it's like Blade Runner. It's a corporate dystopia almost.
Yeah.
Where it's a very comfortable cage. Things are happening at a corporate level. And there aren't any wars. There's just hostile takeovers.
Right.
And with almost privatized military forces.
Right. And you play almost like a freelance operative who's getting paid to do things for people. Right? Yeah, that's essentially it. So think about it that way. Like, if you're almost like a private, it's mercenary. You know what I mean? You're being paid to go find somebody, to go get information from somebody, to go get this piece of technology from somebody. And that's the character you're playing. And it's very intertwined with like technology and cybernetics. And, that's one thing I'm very excited about, is like the whole like cyberdoc shit they have set up in that from the gameplay. Like, go in and sit down and have have an implant put in here and have an implant put in here. And your character sits through that process of like their arm being cut open and this implant being put in, or their head, and then all of a sudden you've got the fucking like the LED shit on your eye. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited to fucking play that, dude.
Like, it's Blade Runner meets Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Mnemonic would be a perfect example of it.
That's actually a great example. Yeah.
Around that time, there was takes us slightly off subject, but the Matrix, notwithstanding, fucking great movie about the dystopian future ahead of us. It was one of the radical fucking movies that changed everything. But around that time, a movie came out that got buried in all that called
Strange Days.
Well, that was good too. Existence.
Right. Existence was great. It was
Jesus
a really good
Christ,
movie.
that movie was so compelling. I thought it had a superior, not the budget, not the actors. It did have Jude Law, who was terrific, I think.
Yeah.
But the idea of that, and plus also the idea that we're like, maybe you didn't see what you were seeing.
Right, yeah.
When you're watching that movie, they didn't fucking tell you, they're like, this is this and that is that. They let you decide for yourself that, like, were you watching the simulation?
Yeah.
Were you watching something that really happened?
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that. Is that where these video games are headed? Because I'm not a video game guy.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
The one I think about using the false, narrator trope, or the unreliable narrator trope, is BioShock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go into the twist. It's an old game, but go and play
game.
it.
That
Good
game
Lord.
is, all three of those are fantastic, man. A lot of people are a big fan of 3. 1 is still my favorite. 2 sucked because you played the Big Daddy, which I wasn't just a big fan of.
I'm just saying, go way in the Wayback Machine, play some System Shock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's for people. System Shock.
Yeah.
BioShock is System Shock spiritual predecessor.
Yeah.
I mean, I had such a visceral reaction to the end of
Now we
BioShock
got flies
Infinite.
again because we have all the doors and windows open. So
See, that's one of those games that when I was still living with Dan, I would sit down and I was never a video game player. I just not what I do. I don't console game. Buddy of mine bought me one as a wedding gift for being a part of his wedding, and I maybe in the last 10 years have logged 150 hours total. But I would sit down and watch Dan play for hours.
right.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like watching a movie.
Right. Yeah.
And the one he did it most was Mass Effect. I watched him play through Mass Effect 4 or 5 times, and
That's a great series. It's
I'm not a
Now,
video
see-
gamer at all, and I've played all 3 of those games through, and I don't play any video games. So yeah, exactly.
Now, see, I know when me and Trent were still living in Florida, I would get home from work, and he was playing this game called Horizon Zero Dawn. And I swear to God, that game through story mode is like a movie. I would come home from work and I'd be like, honey, are you gonna play Zero Dawn? He's like, well, I guess I am now. And I would go make popcorn and I'd sit down.
She literally would make popcorn, sit down, and watch it like a movie. Because that game, like Zero Dawn laid the groundwork in Guerrilla Games, like their new game engine that they created for that, laid the groundwork for games like Days Gone. Like Days Gone has that same beautiful environment feel. And what I loved about what they did in that is Bend Studios, they're in Bend, Oregon, fucking said, you know what, instead of building a game somewhere else, or instead of doing an apocalyptic zombie game in fucking New York or something like that, we're going to make it right here. So their artists literally walked outside and looked at the landscape and recreated it in the game. So it's like the beauty, the countryside and stuff that you're riding your bike through is stunning. And like there's points in the game where you find radio towers. You have to climb up the radio towers and you can communicate back with different camps from there. It's like little side quest, like fucking accomplishments you can do. And when you climb to the top of this radio tower, I mean, it's like you're climbing for like a good 45 seconds to a minute, just climbing. And you get up there and the view over the valley, like from the top of this thing, is absolutely breathtaking. Like it absolutely is, dude. It literally takes you back a second. You know what I mean? Like I was like, holy shit, this is fucking gorgeous. Like, and Zero Dawn did that. Like what I loved, my favorite thing about Zero Dawn was the fact that there were no limits. There was one limit. I found the limits in that game because I played that game like I was 150% complete on everything in that. But I wanted to see how far you could go with it because it was so open world. And I finally figured out that you could climb, there's one giant mountain range, and you can literally climb all the way up to the top, but you can't step over the peak. That's the only thing you can't do. You just can't step over to the peak to the other side. Like, I mean, all the way up to the top. I'm literally like fucking 5,000 feet in the air, dude. I'm like, how am I still breathing? I'm in like a fur fucking, like a fucking bathing suit made out of fur. I'm on the top of a mountain and still breathing. How's that even possible? But, I think that's great, man. I love how they laid the groundwork for that kind of stuff. And I think we're headed that way. And it makes me very excited for Cyberpunk because I know Cyberpunk is looking to take that to the next level. Like, I know they're looking to completely get rid of that pixelation that happens. Wow, that was a massive pop. The pixelation that happens, like anybody when you play these video games, these 3D games, and you're running towards something, everything's blurred out. And then as you get closer to it, things are a little pixelated, and then they get more clear and more refined. Well, I know Cyberpunk's looking to eliminate that, and they're looking to eliminate that whole load time thing. So like basically creating a completely open world that never loads.
Did you just hit yourself in the face?
Yes.
I think that may be a struggle for some
consoles.
for console games, but there are a mass number of PC games that have zero load times.
Yeah.
And like it's all it goes back to that power. Like how much shit do you have?
Right. Yeah.
How big's your engine? And you just go into the settings, you crank it all up. You're like, I can see all the way fucking out there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But I don't know. I'm very excited for it, man. I think it's going to be a very unique experience, and just because it's taking so much time and the way they're being with it just makes me think it's going to be amazing.
Well,
you know,
I think the first time they posted a trailer in 2013, and then this year
we got some game. We have 45 minutes of gameplay this year.
No, this year, like, it was like one of those days where the internet exploded because they posted a trailer and then it went radio silent on everything, and then their Twitter popped up and it just went beep.
Yeah.
That was it. And everyone's like, oh shit,
we're back.
like that, because like you look at that tweet and it's like 2013.
Yeah.
So they've been silent on that project for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
and just working on it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like just cranking it out. And like, I just love it. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait for it, man.
I wish more projects would be like that. Just in general, like music.
Right.
Like a weird segue. Like I don't know if this is true because I didn't get a chance to research, but like Missy Elliott is
Yeah.
dropping a new record after 13
Yeah,
years.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight. No shit.
Right, like just out of nowhere, just like, oh, here's a new record.
Yeah, that.
And like I would love to watch like all kinds of things just do that because you get more
Right.
excitement when you just sit there.
Bob's unloading.
Unless it's Tool, who releases an album every 13 years.
I think it's their last one.
Yeah, I think they're done. I think the only reason they did it is because the fucking fan base has been screaming for it for so long.
Yeah, and for those that have listened to their new single, I'm going to come out and say it that I liked it.
Yeah.
But when you heard it, you can't deny that this sounds like Tool trying to be Tool.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
I
Do
think
you know what I mean? It's like, it's got all the Tool stuff. Here's the thing in Tool you like, and then there's the other part in Tool you like. And like,
It reminds me of when I can't remember what the name of the album was when Soundgarden got back together and released that. They released that first album after a decade or whatever. It was called King Animal or something
Yeah.
like that. I listened to it. I was like, it's good.
It sounded like
it's good,
Soundgarden
but
trying
it sounded like
to be
Soundgarden
Soundgarden.
trying to be Soundgarden. You
right,
know what I mean?
'cause they had been gone too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Well,
I
they
think-
also have the thing we're old.
Right.
You know, we're old. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I played in a band for about 3 years, and we were good and fucking had quite a following. And then we got back together a decade later and tried to play. And it's like, you can't go back and play the way you used to. You when you change as a person, your music's going to change with you. And to try to get that thing back, you're just never going to make it happen. It's smarter to go do something new, you know?
Well, I think that's kind of the problem with the new Star Wars movies. Everybody wants the same. But
Yeah.
it's changed.
Right. And Disney fucked him up. They fucked the dog on him, dude. I'm sorry.
Dude, I'm sorry. I watched the other Star Wars movies. The new ones coming out can suck a fucking dick.
Stormy gives it to you straight.
like every one of them?
I just like the most two recent ones that
She's
came
talking
out.
about Force Awakens.
Last Jedi.
And Force Awakens. And Last Jedi.
Even Force Awakens.
I hated
You didn't
Force
like Force
Awakens.
Awakens?
Force
They
Awakens-
could suck a big giant fucking cock.
Force Awakens looked like a fucking YouTube movie. It looked like it belonged on fucking YouTube. It was the dumbest. It was so fucking bad. And I'll tell you what, I wanted to throw my fucking beer at the goddamn TV screen when BB-8 bounced around and they made it sound like a basketball. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? The fuck is wrong with you? It's a goddamn droid. Like, I'm fucking, oh God, dude. Like, don't even get me started. I'm so mad at those films. Like, I just wanted to end so I don't ever have to think about them again. You know? Fucking, oh. I
Okay,
hate it. Ugh.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Even Rogue One.
Rogue One was awesome.
Yeah.
Rogue One is
Rogue
not.
One was okay.
Rogue One
Okay.
is not. Rogue One
I
was
was like,
a
you're
Star
throwing
Wars.
the baby out with
No,
the
hold on. No,
bathwater here.
no.
Because Rogue One is stout.
No, I'm talking about the goddamn.
I
fucking,
wouldn't necessarily say it was stellar, but it wasn't bad.
I'm not talking about that.
But out of like everything since Jedi.
I'm talking about the fucking shitty fucking Skywalker shit that Disney has done since they bought fucking Lucasfilm. Like, fucking, it's terrible. Force Awakens is fucking terrible. The Last Jedi was even fucking worse. And I think this next one is going to be even more terrible.
Well,
That's so shitty that you have such a great fucking villain in Kylo Ren and such a great story there, but you have to bring the Emperor back. Like, really?
Well, they're
like,
hinting.
wait, no.
That's not confirmed,
Dude,
right?
come on. It was the fucking remnants of the goddamn fucking Death Star and his laugh. He's fucking coming back. All right? And that's the only way they can figure out how to rescue their shitty fucking franchise. That's the only thing they can do. They're like, we're going to bring back this big bad evil guy and get all the nostalgia from it. Instead of taking Kylo Ren and running with it and writing a new story, they decided to just make 3 super shitty films and try to make as much money off them as they possibly
I don't
can.
know, like let's say that what I liked about Rogue One
Rogue One is not what I included in that.
I don't know who the fuck any of these people are.
Exactly. It was a Star Wars movie.
I don't know who any of these people were. And in Force Awakens, it was, I gotta admit, it did send chills up my spine when Han walked onto the board of the Falcon and looked at Chewie and said, "Chewie, we're home."
Right. I
Like,
get it.
That touch places in me where I'm like, you fuckers, you got me. Like, I didn't think you could get me. I'm like, I'm all jaded.
Sure.
Like, oh, you don't fucking get me. But I'm like,
Sure.
you got me, you motherfuckers.
I will give you. It had
But,
its moments of nostalgia.
Even in Rogue One, where the film culminates with that, holy shit, here comes Vader. And we
Yeah.
get to see Vader go uncorked in a way that
Yeah.
we've never seen Vader before. That was fun. But at the same time, I know, hey, you motherfuckers, I know you're jerking me off.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? This film culminated in a way that no other Star Wars movie did.
Yeah.
Where you're like, it was so white knuckle because you knew from the outset, this is a doomed mission.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
How are they going to make this entertaining? We already know how this story's going
Right.
to end. And they
So many dead
climax, like, you climax at the end of that because it's just like, it's the be-all, end-all, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, how about some Vader? Remember him?
Right, yeah.
At the same time, it's kind of anticlimactic. I much prefer in Force Awakens when there's a really haunting shot of Kylo Ren kind of meditating over Vader's warp
destroyed helmet. Yeah.
That was haunting.
Yeah.
In a way that was like, okay, we're gonna give you a little bit of a touch from what you're used to. Just a tiny little taste. I thought that was a nice touch. And like all these films, they, like you said, they really have something. But they managed to just fuck it up so righteously.
Oh, yeah.
But there's so many moments in there that are worth revisiting.
I love hearing from Curtis and I love hearing from Trent, but we have a sci-fi guru in the room, and I want to hear from him.
Yeah, Bob. Spill it.
Actually, I was talking to you, Tim.
I like the movies. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Star Wars films, the new ones, I enjoyed them. There were a couple of places where I thought they pandered to the audience by throwing the nostalgia. I have my own personal beef with a lot of the scenes that made me overthink things, like how Rey is actually the daughter of Han and Leia because of a scene.
Yeah, where
and
she hugs her and shit.
Right, she like bypass,
go into that 3PO rant. Like, that was fucking funny.
but yeah, she bypasses Chewie and it's like, and then Han's like giving the keys to the Millennium Falcon to her, and Chewie's over there like, what the fuck, motherfucker?
I personally want to see a scene of Kylo Ren going to Endor and just decimating Ewoks to get that helmet.
You won't, because that Ewok Beanie Babies are coming.
Dude.
You just wait. You just wait.
They could bring out an Ewok without a head and make it as a beanie baby. That'd sell.
But
You put Star Wars on it, that fucking will sell. That'll sell.
Ewok death scene in Jedi.
Oh man, you were.
It's about the only time you see real, factual, honest to God death in that entire trilogy.
Wub wub.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it also has that futility.
It's Wub Nub, you motherfucker.
I don't speak Ewok.
Wub Nub. Let's face it, they also eat people.
But no,
They're monsters.
they to answer your question, they are what I expected. But unfortunately, I also you had production issues. You had, various. There wasn't a coherent writer, where at least with
He definitely was not coherent.
Wait. Hold on. I have to disagree with that. because J.J. Abrams wrote that first movie.
No, I'm talking about all the way through, like the two that.
Oh, okay,
You
yeah.
know, there wasn't somebody like.
Well,
as much as you may like George or hate George, he had a vision.
Yeah.
You know, so if you enjoyed the first three, everybody did.
Right.
You know, the next three was designed and made for a different generation. An older George.
Yeah.
There was a vision there, so they never felt like they were different movies in the same trilogy.
Right, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Where each block of three felt like they were all cohesive.
Yeah.
And when I went from The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi,
Right.
it didn't feel
Yeah.
Well,
it looked the same. It had the same people in it, but the story seemed to be
right. Well, the thing is J.J. Abrams actually had The Last Jedi completely written. And, like, he had, like, all the stuff laid out for who Snopes, whatever the fuck his name is. They had all the shit laid out. Snoke. What is Smoke? I don't give a shit, dude. Whatever his fucking name is. That fucking big, ugly fucker with a scar. They had all the shit laid out for him. And, like, he had this whole story written. And then the new director came in and went, fuck that shit. And that's why he died the way he did. Like, there was a whole other plan for that guy.
But, you know, this is where Disney should have came in and been like,
yeah, but the problem is you know what Disney does? Disney says, okay, I don't care what you make. I just want to know how much we can merchandise it for. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is why they went this route. Yes, I do agree with the nostalgia of Han walking back on that ship and Leia and all of that stuff. And Luke, the one saving grace from Last Jedi for me is that whole confrontation between Luke and them, like everybody trying to blow him up and Kylo Ren trying to kill him, and it's him projecting himself. Like, that was great. But all Disney was trying to do was going, here's these movies that are fucking a huge fucking cult phenomenon. Let's take everybody that was in the originals and put them in the new ones because everybody will come out to see it. That was the only reason they did it. They didn't do it for any other fucking reason than to get people to come see it so they could sell more Star Wars toys. That's all it was for. Disney, I'm sorry. I love you. I know you bought Marvel. You own everything I love, but they are nothing but a money-hungry corporate fucking money-making machine. They don't give a fuck about anything else, dude. And that bothers me. It drives me nuts because they're ruining all the shit that we loved as kids.
right, but they are, but it's one of those things that
There's nothing we can do about it.
Right,
I can
you're
bitch
just
about it
like-
on this podcast every week, and it can make a difference, except somebody from Disney might shoot me one day. Like,
A worthy death.
But no, it's. I enjoyed them for what they were.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, like I watched them. I had a good time.
I will never watch Force Awakens again. I would watch The Last Jedi again. It was definitely better than Force Awakens, but Force Awakens was garbage.
That one point in Force Awakens when Luke's like, I don't care. You're not getting me back.
You mean
And-
last?
Last Jedi.
Or Last Jedi,
Yeah.
sorry. And
He just takes the lightsaber and fucking pitches it.
Yeah,
I
right.
fucking love that.
I'll watch it again with two tablets or two phones and a tablet.
As you playing all your fucking video games, ignoring
No,
it.
that bit where he's like, I don't care. You're not getting me back. I don't care what you say. And R2 plays that message.
Yeah.
That's the rallying cry. Like every geek
Right. Help me,
feels
Obi-Wan.
that in their core.
Right.
Your Disney rant could join my weekly rant for finish the fucking book.
George, if you're listening, Bob has a message for you.
Finish the fucking book. We love you, George. Don't die. Finish the series.
He's gonna. It'll be a book, and you'll open it up. It'll just say, "Watch season 8."
Right. Yeah. And I'm going to say, fuck you, George, because season 8 was
What
garbage.
if he's buried?
Not
with
all
it?
of season 8.
No, not all of it. I will take that. I will take that back. Not all of it. The first 2 episodes were amazing.
What if he's buried with it and we literally have to go like on a dungeon crawl to get it?
I will dig up
I
his
would
corpse.
so be into that. I would have a pack full of rations, man. Let's go.
This is an escape room I'd want to do.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
You know what? I so want to try it's one of those escape
We were talking
rooms.
about that, man. Like we were mentioning getting everybody
Yeah,
together.
there's one in Sarasota.
Isn't there one here?
There's one here.
There are a couple in Worcester.
Yeah.
Really?
You
I
could
want
put
to
one
go
next
do
door
one.
to my house and I wouldn't go. Fuck that.
Why, dude? I mean, it's an escape room.
Because it
It'd be
seems
fun.
like a hassle. Like I don't want to fucking do that.
Get out.
Right. We're gonna do this sober.
We're gonna die, Curtis.
Oh no.
No, we'll go
No.
to the brewery.
I'll be at the brewery. You guys tell me how long it took you to fiddle with
listen,
fucking
dude.
puzzles and
Dude,
shit.
we
Like,
go-
fuck
dude,
that.
Curt, we go to the brewery, we
Right.
drink for a good 3-4 hours, then go try to get out of the escape room.
like you'd have a harder time talking to me into going through that hassle. No, there's not a single.
I think it would be
part that I wanna
fantastic,
do.
dude. Because you know what would happen if
Fucking escape room.
If I was
No.
drunk enough and we walked in and we're like, we're gonna do an escape room, I'd be in there for 10 minutes and I would just barrel my fat ass through the door. It's like, fuck
all
it,
for that,
I'm
dude.
out. Let's go get some more beer.
Just like
Suddenly, the escape room turns into panic room.
I'm literally imagining the most broken, lonely man. Like, wait, you mean I have an hour in here and no one can get me? Oh, thank Christ!
I know, right?
Just sit here and take a nap.
Can you make these lights lower?
Right. In a world.
Like, dude, I'll go down to our barbershop and I'll be there for 2.5, 3 hours. And I'm fine. I don't care.
I love
It
those.
fucking cracks me up when I tell people, hey, man, go down to my barbershop, get your cut there.
It's funny.
And they're like, dude, I was there forever. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you not enjoy that? No, dude, what the fuck? Like, why did I wait so long? I don't
'Cause
know.
it's
What did you
fucking
sit there
helps.
for, you fucking dummy? If you weren't enjoying it, like, then get the hell out.
I actually caught myself looking after I took a shower today. I looked at myself in the mirror, wanting my hair to grow faster so I could get back down there. Like I literally am like, grow faster, fucker. I want to go back
we
down the
went
house.
there to get his hair cut and his beard trimmed, and he was ready to cut his beard off. Like,
Yeah, it had gotten to that point.
it
You know,
got
that point
to
of
the
craziness.
point
It was just
he-
like,
Right.
And then he went there, and they took such good care of him.
I told
that
you,
he's
man.
his batteries got recharged. There was a spark.
Dude,
in his
Truly
ass.
therapy.
it was
Yes.
seriously everything that makes a barbershop great, dude. It
I
was
sold Tim on it. I sold Trent on it.
It was excellent conversation. It was good people. There was no television, which I loved. Everybody was sitting around bullshit and fucking, and I got a great haircut, dude. I mean, for a very inexpensive price, dude.
The way Stormy describes it sounds like you really put some lead in your pencil there too.
Yeah, It was, man.
Ooh.
Pippity pop.
And you're back on top.
Just like that.
All right.
So given the old podcast, I want to know everybody's top 2 science fiction.
Oh,
It could be book,
science fiction work then.
yes.
Ooh, Firefly.
Okay, Stormy, go first. What's your top 2? Since you decided to jump on the microphone.
Okay, so I know one. You guys know from our past podcast, I really don't like sci-fi. However, Tim's like, "Well, I'm gonna be coming back soon."
Stormy's had a few beers this evening.
And he's like, "Well, you gotta watch these." And so I found Firefly, and I'm like, "Oh my god, we saw these." I love Firefly. It's sci-fi, but it's not.
It's sci-fi, but the story's just written.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cowboy shit.
It's a sci-fi setting.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right. And like Firefly is in my top 5.
Right.
It's the saddest, like 12th or 13th episode. You're just like, fuck. But at the same time, it never got shitty.
Right.
It never
True.
got shitty.
It's Project Red.
Right. It's golden. Like they even brought out the movie Serenity, which is
Yeah, it's based
And,
on that. Yeah.
like, hey, we got canceled, so we're gonna we got enough to make a movie, so we're gonna wrap this shit up. Yeah, and it's a beautiful piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I even made Bob watch it. He came over. Well, Bob practically lives here, but yeah, I'm like, Bob, we're gonna talk about Firefly. Here, let's watch it.
What's your favorite 2 episodes
Oh.
of Firefly?
Good luck on that one.
If you had to pick 2.
She can barely remember her name.
We're not going there.
Oh shit!
I think you go with everybody's top 2.
What did
man.
you
Yeah.
fuck up?
There's-
Did you never get me my fucking power supply? Asked her to give me my power supply like ages ago.
Okay, so Bob, what is your 2 favorite? I have one. So what's your 2? Or if you don't have 2, just go with one.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Oh, book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first, for those of you youngins that don't know any better, that was the first Star Wars anything that wasn't the original Holy Trilogy. Up until then, there were the comic books that came out. Marvel had their own comic book run, and it was pretty good stories. But Splinter of the Mind's Eye was a novel that, when you read it, you felt like this is canon. Like this will be in the next movie, or this takes place during these stories that they'll explore later.
And it was a one-off that never got mentioned again.
Yeah.
Although and I can't remember what fucking book it happened in, but Chewie's death. I mean, when Chewie
with the Yuuzhan Vong and
when Chewie gets, he's screaming at a planet that's falling on him. I mean, like, what better way for a Wookiee to die?
No, explain the Yuuzhan Vong, because that is a really curious enemy that it's a shame that Star Wars universe otherwise never did take advantage of.
Curt, there are two better people at this table to explain them than I. I remember them, but not well enough to explain them.
And Bob's had several bitch pops tonight too. So
honestly,
his brain
all I
is
know
swimming
Yuuzhan
in.
Vong is what Randy would tell me.
We're the drinky corner over there.
So I turned to Tim.
You guys are Mickey Rourke.
So literally, I'm the only person that knows that they are.
Who?
Nice.
Okay, the Yuuzhan Vong are fucking horrifying in the Star Wars universe. Imagine and almost like they look like if you kind of cloned Marilyn Manson but sort of fucked it up. And what they are, they're force impervious. Like,
Oh, wow, cool.
There's no fucking with them.
Right.
And they are anti-technology. All of technology is harm nature beyond repair. And so if you're coming at them with pistols, spaceships, and all that shit, it's undone. Mm-hmm. You can't fuck with them. And it's literally why. And I thought that would come to play when Force Awakens came about, because everybody watched these stories. Han and Leia had twins. And one of them, Ben, who we see now in the comics, he was force sensitive. So, of course, they gave him to Luke to train, and Luke had a Jedi Academy, and everything was going swell. But the Yuuzhan Vong came, and there's nothing they could do. They're just undone by it. And so they're like, hold on, I got the force. Hey, man, you know what? It's not working.
I want to meet what
And Ben
Jedi's.
got really fucking impatient.
I want to meet the Jedi that has that voice. Hold on, I got the Force.
Well, I'm trying to do like my Dudley Do-Right voice.
It's like Kermit goes fucking.
And if you're a young Jedi and you're watching your Jedis get their ass split out on
Right.
the battlefield, and everybody else is getting gang raped by these things, and they're like, hold on, be patient, Padawan. And you're like, hey, fuck patience. Our shit isn't working.
Right, yeah.
And you notice that anger, when you start to bring anger to bear when it comes to the Force, it's starting to get the job done.
Right.
You're not content with doing that anymore. And that makes way more sense than the happy horse shit that we're seeing, where it was like, Luke saw how scary he was, and then he was like, maybe I should kill him. Oh, shit. And he read my mind. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah, right.
It all went sideways from there, which is funny. I get that. The comic part of that is really funny.
I know, right?
But this story that is canon would make way more sense. I don't know why they fucking disbanded with that.
100%, dude.
Didn't they have like living ships as well?
Yeah, absolutely. All their technology is nature based.
Right.
And they're a fascinating fucking villain that I haven't seen in movies or TV shows or anything like that. Like I wish they'd do something with it.
Nice. Right on. All right.
Oh, no, Tim brought up the subject. Trent?
Oh, okay. My two favorite sci-fi works. Okay. It would be for, that's a tough one because I have lots of sci-fi things that I like. But I would have to say probably my favorites are Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm a huge fan of that. I love the Picard years. I watch that show religiously. I know the original's great. I know you're a diehard original fan. I'm not a big fan of the original Star Trek. It's good. I enjoy it. I respect it for what it was, but it just wasn't a show I would sit around and watch. Whereas it's just too corny and campy for me. But Star Trek: Next Generation brought that world to the forefront in a manner that I think appealed to everybody. You know what I mean? And like Picard, Patrick Stewart as Picard was absolutely amazing. I mean, he just killed it. And I loved this future version of that world where Klingons are members of the Federation and the evil people are the Romulans and like the Ferengi and, Data, one of my favorite characters ever written, Data. You know what I mean? Like his android trying to be human when everybody's like, why the fuck would you want to be human? Like you're basically impervious and can never die. Why the fuck do you want to be like us, and then the second one I would have to mention is actually I don't know if anybody's ever read it, but the original Total Recall book. So anybody here read the original Total Recall book?
No.
So it was, I believe it was Isaac Asimov that wrote it. I think.
No shit,
I may be wrong.
really?
I might be wrong. I'm just not. I'm not.
Ben, can you Google that?
I'm not denying it.
Hey, Ben's our guy in a chair.
I'm not denying it. I very, very, very well could, really could be wrong on that one. In my head, it's Isaac Asimov, but I don't remember. I read it whenever I was in. I read that book whenever I was in the 7th or 8th grade. No, I would have been a freshman because I was in Florida. So I read it like when I was a freshman. What I loved. Go ahead.
I think it's Philip K. Dick.
It is.
Philip K. Oh, it's Philip K.
Oh, he
Dick.
wrote
Okay.
everything.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. I
Go
couldn't
down
remember.
a rabbit hole with that dude. He's fun.
Yeah.
But what I loved about that novel is that it was so different than the movie we got. It was still good, and it had a lot of similarities to the movie, but the ending is what made everything so much better. So, like, you remember in the ending of the movie, he puts his hand on that thing, the reactor opens, guy gets sucked out, his head explodes, blue sky on Mars. Yay! That's not how the book ended. The book ended with him when he walked into that room, there were booths all around that fucking reactor, and they had images of different beings above each one of them and they looked like different alien races, and he found the one that looked like man and went in there and sat there, and he put his hand on the thing there, and it went through and explained to him who that alien race was. They were engineers that basically engineered life all over the universe and built these things in these fucking dead planets to turn them into living planets. And they totally explained the alien race, why the reactor's there, how it all works, and then he turns the reactor on. There's no big battle at the end where a guy gets sucked out and his eyeballs get pulled out of his head. None of that bullshit. He turns the reactor on, blue sky on Mars, everybody live.
But it was just give Arnold a chance to just go into the studio and go for like an hour, which he did in every movie.
It was such a better ending. But that book was just a great read, man. That's one of my. It's definitely one of my top 2 favorite fucking sci-fi works ever done. Even though I totally fucked up who the author was.
It's all right.
But I have had like 4 of these, so.
Fuck yeah.
It happens.
I'm going with anything by Harlan Ellison, especially I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream.
Which also is a really amazing video game.
Yes. Oh, narrated by Harlan Ellison.
Nice.
Yes, he did the narration for it. The man was a cantankerous, just...
Good word.
Oh, cantankerous.
People do not get to use cantankerous enough.
It really was, yeah.
But
They use it against me a lot.
Well, you were born the grumpy old man, so it makes sense.
I mean, he had James Cameron afraid of him when he wrote Terminator
That's impressive.
because he was very litigious. I mean, the man wrote, supposedly what Terminator was based on. He wrote for the
Demon with a
original
glass hand, isn't that the name of it? Like it was a Twilight Zone or Outer Limits sketch?
Outer Limits.
Yeah.
He wrote for the original Star Trek, City on the Edge of Forever. Yeah, there you go. I mean, he was awesome. And he was actually from Ohio. He was up north.
That I did not know.
Yes.
That's what the fuck's wrong with him.
Shaker Heights.
I've got a second one when we go back around. It took me a minute to come up with one.
That's okay.
So, yeah. I mean, his entire work.
What else?
Yeah, what you got?
You got to
Bob?
give 2.
Top 2.
Ender's Game, the book.
Oh, God, no. I have had a friend try to get me to read Ender's Game since 8th grade. I have tried the book, I've tried the movie, I've tried the audiobook.
Can't get through it?
I cannot.
It's
My
a
friends make fun of me because they're like, it's written for 8th graders.
It's a 4-book series. It's a 3 or 4 book series.
Yeah, Eater of the Dead, or Speaker for the Dead, or of the Dead.
Eaters of the Dead is the Crichton book that 13th Warrior is built on.
Yeah. Crichton, that's another good fucking writer.
Fuck yeah.
I love his shit, man.
So I guess I'm the single one out. I only got one, huh?
Yeah, but you don't like sci-fi, so that makes
I
sense.
haven't mentioned either.
Yeah.
Curt, go for it.
First and foremost, my sci-fi world, I would like to say it's Star Wars, because it did start with Star Wars. The original, New Hope, because I'm old enough, I was 6 in 1977, and I can remember what sci-fi movies were before that were fucking hilarious, okay?
Like the flying saucer on the street.
They were like, in the future, everybody's going to wear like these silver jumpsuits.
Everybody's got personal jetpacks.
Yeah, they're fucking dumb. Like, these are the worst fucking space movies. You would not be able to make it through these movies.
Ed Wood, Plan 9 from outer space.
Right, a lot of them look like that.
Yeah, I know. The flying saucer on the string.
Anything that had to do with space, I was fucking on board for it.
Right.
Space 1999, Star Trek, all that stuff. And when Star Wars came out, it split her fucking wig really good,
right.
like, because it was just fun. Like they put all of the heady pursuits that sci-fi had come with. And even as a kid, I got it. I got on board. There was a movie called Silent Running that I would circle.
Yeah.
I would circle in the TV guide. Back when we used to read the TV guide to find out what was on 3 fucking channels worth of TV. Grandpa's gonna tell you a story.
Right.
But when Silent Running would appear in there, I'm like, oh yeah, I would turn it up. I can fucking pay you to sit through that movie now.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, here's what happened. Okay, it was this giant fucking boring ass space movie where there was a guy and he was one dude on a giant fucking spaceship with a couple of robots.
3 of them.
And they were horticulturists, and he would fly around the universe gathering plants and taking care of them.
I've seen this
And he
movie.
was gonna fucking die.
I've seen this
so he had to
fucking
teach
movie.
robots how to take care of all the
Yeah.
plants. What are you kidding me?
I've seen that movie. I
How
know
the fuck
exactly
did
what
that make it
you're
through a
talking
pitch session?
He was also.
But like, okay, and
See, we're going to take a gardener and we're going to put
Right.
it in space.
I'm a little kid, and you like the movies are like it's in space and there's robots. I'm like,
Right.
I'm fucking in,
Yeah.
and I would like run into the living room like I was sliding into home in front of the TV and just like fucking I'm locked in on this dumbass movie. Okay,
Right.
so when Star Wars came along, game changer, man. All of a sudden you've got fun throughout the movie, and it was exciting. The next thing that happened, okay, was this is the 70s, okay, and they weren't all that careful about who got to go see adult movies. But I didn't get to see all. I saw a bunch of movies where parents didn't give a fuck, and you go to the drive-in, you'd see all kinds of fucking shit that you really, really, really shouldn't. The next thing that happened that we did not get to see was Alien.
Right.
Jesus.
It's a great entry,
Christ
actually.
on a pogo stick.
Right.
Okay. And back then, the way they marketed movies was so sly that, there wasn't things to expose and studio leaks and shit like that.
Right.
Wasn't even anywhere for you to fucking check it out.
Right.
Like, you may have seen a movie poster, and if you saw the commercial that was on TV, it didn't show you much either. But the way they crafted it was haunting. Just a tagline: in space, no one can hear you scream. Jesus.
I know,
That's
right?
fucking eerie.
That's pretty freaky.
So, for whatever reason,
You're fine.
because this is a fucked up decade, they decided that this movie would also be coupled with a toy tie-in. And Kenner, of all things, put out an Alien toy. Because otherwise, you just
What,
saw the
they did
movie
a
poster
xenomorph?
with the fucking egg.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
you just saw the egg. You know what
Yeah.
the fucking alien looks like, and I will never forget this. We go walk into fucking school, and this kid is in my class, Chris. I'm not gonna say his last name because I'm smart now on his podcast. Chris is across the street, and he's got a paper bag, and we're like, "Yo, Chris, what's in the bag?" And he's like, "You guys aren't believe this. I brought something for show and tell today." What is it? He's like, I got an alien toy. We're like, what kind of alien toy? He's like, from that movie.
Right.
We all knew what he was talking about.
Right.
So we're so fucking excited. You know what I mean? He got up in front of the class, and we were not prepared. Nobody was. Like, this sick ass design was the stuff of only nightmares.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
some H.P. Lovecraft.
Well, Geiger.
Geiger's
Digs
the one.
right
yeah.
back at the base of your skull and shit that you couldn't even whisper to other people. And he hauled that doll out of that paper bag in front of us. I'll never forget this because I was sitting like 3 or 4 rows back, and there was a lever on the back of the head, and when you pulled it, the mouth shot
They
out.
did the thing.
Fucking everybody in front of me jumped like, ah! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was raw and that was real, and my friends and I could not wait to see that movie. And finally, when we did get to see that movie, boy, did it deliver. Like, that just kept coming at you. It haunted you.
The thing is do you actually consider Alien a sci-fi film or a horror film?
more so than any other movie.
I
because
consider it
Star
more of a
Wars was
horror
the
film.
first movie, in my memory, that made the future look lived in.
Right.
It looked real.
Yeah.
It drew you in because everything looked used in a way and practical in a way that it made sense to you. You're like, that's probably going to happen. Like, that's going to happen. And so the fact that Alien utilized a crew of like kind of roughneck people and regular people, you're like, oh my God, like that's totally us. It helped you like lock into it.
Right.
And the fact that they did that in such a way that there's no escape from it, I think is the kind of a first in a sci-fi way for me. I mean, there's other things that led to that movie, certainly, that you can point to. But in my young mind, that was those two things, Star Wars and Alien, though that is the very pinnacle of sci-fi to me, because it started there for me.
Well, I mean, more to your point, you didn't see anyone wearing a shiny jumpsuit in Alien.
So, Tim,
No.
you're the only one left.
Oh,
Let's
shit.
hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, please tell me you got to.
You
Otherwise,
proposed the question there, sir.
I actually hate it. No.
You are sci-fi, blah, 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 blah.
Guru.
You are, thank you.
No. Obviously, my go-to is always the Star Trek universe. People were like, it's boring, but like, for me, Star Trek is it's the best that we can aspire to.
Right.
You know, as humanity, as a collective, and
So you want to fuck a lot of aliens?
less TOS, more like Next Generation.
Okay,
and Deep
just
Space
checking.
Nine.
I was about to say DS9. You're going to pull DS9.
Right,
We're,
like
not, we're not
DS
going to throw ourselves in a wall every time
No.
we hit the brakes.
Yeah, right.
Fuck every alien the most. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It was early technology, space brakes. I mean,
So I take it then Tim likes cosplay.
They didn't turn on the inertial dampeners.
do I like cosplay?
Oh, no, that was just a
Oh, okay. I was like, I take it. Like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, I am not a cosplay person. I enjoy seeing people like do their craft.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Yeah.
more time and patience than I will ever
I
have.
don't dress up either, dude. I can do cosplay as one person, the penguin, and that's it. I'm short, round, and bald.
Dude, I love cosplay,
You know?
but I was making it a joke as like
yeah, we-
so Tim gets into cosplay then.
Hey, if you were here for one of our breakfast D&D sessions, you'll see Tim in a sweet Starfleet Federation robe
Exactly, yeah, dude.
and pajamas.
We got to stream one of those breakfast sessions one of these times. Anyways, Tim, finish. Sorry, man.
And my other one, it's always a toss up between Tron.
Oh, good one.
Oh yeah,
Tron
fuck
was
yeah.
awesome.
Like I love Tron. Like Tron's that movie that like it's on. I own it. I own several copies of it. But if it's on TV, I'm just like
Flypaper movie. You're just sucked in.
sit there. I was like, it's one of those things where I know like the term in like Flint
Right.
Yeah.
from what is it? That movie?
There's a movie. There's several movies actually.
Right.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was in like Flynn and like, oh, I'm in like Flynn
Oh,
because he
okay.
gets sucked in.
Yeah.
And that's what I always thought it was until one day I saw a poster somewhere for in like Flint and I was like, not what I was thinking. Not at all. Totally wrong.
Been misunderstanding that for
Really become an idiot.
decades.
But
Well, in like
Right.
Flynn originally started with Errol Flynn.
Errol
back
Flynn,
in-
exactly.
Back in the 30s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Because he banged a lot of broads.
Yeah. Almost as many as Kirk.
Yeah.
But no, so it's like Tron, and Tron's probably one of my favorites. That or Logan's Run.
Right. Logan's Run's great.
Yeah.
Like Logan's Run.
Have you
like,
heard about them remaking that? There's been talk about that for like the last 5 years.
There's always been talk of making Logan's Run.
I
but
just don't
it's-
think you can do it.
I think you could. I think Logan's Run has a place. Like that story arc has a place in society today.
I don't think you can remake it. I think you have to do a new take on it. You understand what I mean? Not remake it.
Well-
do like what they did with Evil Dead. Sorry, finish.
They kind of did that thing. Wasn't there like a Justin Timberlake movie where they had the time aspect?
I'm bringing
Just
sexy
not even
back.
drinking.
Does not belong
Honestly,
on
I
this
think this thing
podcast.
exists.
I'm bringing sexy
There was
back.
like a Justin Timberlake movie where there was like time was a currency almost for your lifetime.
I don't know. I don't.
Oh yeah. Wait.
Oh,
I
it
remember
was
the trailer
called-
for
it was
this.
called,
like get a timer on your wrist and you can pay for more time to be put on there, right?
Time Shit. Hold on.
No, I know
Okay.
what that movie.
While,
Yes.
while Trent Googles, I want to ask Kurt a question.
I'm not insane.
Because
Shoot.
because of the way you described Alien, what did you think of Event Horizon? Because that movie actually that movie horrified me.
That figures into the cosmic horror, which is totally Lovecraftian. It's kind of the same thing, and yeah, that will fucking haunt you. Yeah, perfect. Like that movie is flawless, and it's sci-fi. It's also sci-fi horror.
That movie is called In Time, by the way. Yeah, I would disagree with you on Event Horizon because I think it's a horror film. I think it's a horror film that takes place in space. That doesn't make it a sci-fi movie.
But they're using a different
Would- so-
engine to activate it.
But hold on though. By that logic, would you consider Hellraiser Bloodlines a sci-fi movie?
That's the one where the whole ship is one of the cubes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's sci-fi.
It's not a sci-fi movie, dude. It's a horror
It's
movie.
first and foremost sci-fi.
I think this is where you start, where people start, like when it comes to genres, you start like splitting hairs.
Yeah,
It's
the
all-
lines are blurred.
It's all in the intent of the franchise.
That's on the podcast.
So like,
Worcester, Ohio, everybody. Can you hear the sirens?
but like, so you take something like Event Horizon, which is cosmic horror, which is H.P. Lovecraft, and it is science fiction. So it is science fiction horror. It is based in sci-fi. It has a otherworldly element to it.
It's a perfect Reese's cup of peanut butter chocolate horror. Sci-fi.
Like
It's the goober jelly peanut butter. Yeah.
Yeah.
if the setting is science fiction and futuristic, it is sci-fi, and then you can tag on like, is it a sci-fi horror? Click.
Yeah, see, I look at it the other way. Personally, I just look at it the other way. That's just my own personal preference. But
I like Event Horizon.
I love that movie. It's one of my favorites.
Okay, so then I have to ask you this question. So if a movie is set in a fantasy setting, like let's say Harry Potter, but let's say Harry Potter was an evil, sadistic fucking sorcerer who murdered everybody, is that a horror film or is that a fantasy film?
I would consider it a horror
Kids
film.
that died at Hogwarts.
I would consider it a horror film.
I'd call it both.
You can call it a fantasy horror.
Yeah.
You can call it a sci-fi horror. I can blur those lines. I don't blur lines a lot, but you can.
You're
blur
blurring the
those
lines right now.
Well, you won't share Trent with me, Dave.
There's some blurry lines over what you're saying right now.
But no, I think we get caught up a lot in like subgenres of things, like and it all goes back to, I think, did you enjoy the fucking film?
Oh, I loved it.
Or what the writer says about
Right.
it. If the writer is like, it was a horror movie, but I wanted to do in a futuristic setting, then it's a horror
I
movie.
call it a horror movie instead of sci-fi because the story was primarily driven by fear. The story didn't have
I'll
to.
buy that.
It had sci-fi elements to it. It was about a gravity drive that opened a whole another dimension, but the story was driven by fear. Just like Alien, the original Alien film was the same concept. Now, when I look at a sci-fi film, I consider sci-fi movies like Star Trek, like Star Wars, stuff that is based completely on the science fiction element of what is happening. That is what that entire story of Star Wars is, a science fiction film. You know what I mean? Whereas Event Horizon is a scary movie set in space.
Yeah.
It's just the way I look at it. That's my defense.
And that's where it's like it's like genres and
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like, you say tomato, I say fucking shotgun, whatever.
Black metal or death metal?
Yeah, I know.
subterranean.
I don't want to get into that, but that's a whole
Baby metal, man. It's all about baby metal.
And like, I think it just goes back to like, when you
Ow,
write.
motherfucking table.
Colossus strikes again. I am the table.
But no, I think it goes back to that thing where, as a whole, like when you look at the nerd ecosystem or the geek ecosystem, whatever you want to, however you want to frame it, we like our things,
Right.
and people like. We like sides and we like teams, and that's why you always have those huge debates like which fucking science fiction universe can beat up with the other science fiction.
Right.
It's Warhammer. It's always fucking Warhammer.
It's always Warhammer, right? Always.
That's why they're not allowed at the table anymore.
There's a comic out there that talks about men's brains and women's brains, and men's brains, everything's in a box, and you go to that box and you.
I've seen that.
You
Yeah.
take it out of the box, and you think about what's in that box, and then you close that box up. You put that box back on the shelf, and then women's brains is like a fucking ball of yarn and just like electrodes shooting everywhere, and women don't understand the nothing box.
Well, it's just
Oh,
because
you're so
they say
true.
he says that motion is tied to everything. For us, emotions are that's that separate box. You take that out, and that emotion is that. But for women, emotion is tied into everything. What turns the entire brain into a ball of wires. They're just shot through with these emotions. Yeah, I kind of get that.
And just based off the way women communicate, I think I read once women communicate on like 6 different levels simultaneously.
Yeah.
Guys have
we're
like
lucky to get
2,
one.
3.
We have 2. Fucking punch, don't punch.
Just like what's being said and how it's being said. Women
Guys.
have like what's being said, what's not being said.
Yeah.
How what's not being said is not being said. It's very.
I love the part
nuanced.
of that video where the guy explains it like, for men, there's one box,
Our favorite
and that box doesn't have anything in it. And our favorite thing to do is to pull that box out and just enjoy that box.
Exactly. Yeah.
And us doing that makes women fucking nuts.
Exactly right.
What are you thinking about? Nothing.
Nothing.
What do you mean you're thinking about nothing?
Nothing. I'm literally thinking of nothing right now. It's my favorite place to be. Definitely. You know, I want to touch real quick. We brought up the Terminator a couple times.
Oh my God.
Back to video games. I just read online that the new DLC for Mortal Kombat came out.
Spawn.
It's got Spawn, Terminator, the T-800, and fucking Nightwolf, Shang Tsung,
And Gordo Pippety Pop.
and fucking Sindel. But dude, the fucking T-800 looks fucking amazing, dude. It's like Schwarzenegger from fucking Terminator 2. It's him.
So
with
as he
like,
takes damage, like he'll come apart. And
I
shit?
don't know, but it's the character. It's him in the leather jacket with half his face gone and a shotgun. That's the character you get to play in Mortal Kombat. I'm like, give me that all day long, please.
All right.
Like,
I'm gonna reel this back in.
oh, sorry, yeah.
One last thing. Matrix 4.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm happy about it. I'm happy. I think it's going to be good. I love Carrie Moss. I love Keanu. But I don't know if they're trying to beat a dead horse. You know?
Or maybe they're trying to fix.
See, I think the Matrix movies get a bad rap. I liked them.
Deservedly.
No, bullshit, dude. Comparing the second two to the first one is ridiculous.
You can't-
That's like comparing your first blowjob to your 50th. It's not going to happen, dude.
no, I'm a fan of
You know
all
what I
of
mean? I get that. But what my point is that...
I'm not a fan of all of them. I'm just going to relate to you a tiny story about an inexperienced gal that decided to put her thumb over the hole at the wrong moment.
Oh.
Yeah. Your balls go like that. Like everything went white for a second
You look
and
like
it kind of fell over.
Your
Like,
dick looked like Dizzy Gillespie for a minute.
well, they did. Like, I don't know what was. I wasn't paying attention.
It's like rabbit.
All of a sudden, everything went white and my knees buckled. I was like, ah. Anyway, go ahead.
And it's
Sorry.
involving teeth as well.
The thing is that the first Matrix film was a marvel as far as excellent new kind of filmmaking techniques. The shit they did, shit it played at the theater whenever I saw that thing at the fucking theater. I can't even tell you how many times. But the second two films were not that fucking groundbreaking piece of artwork. They were still good movies, man. They were still good movies. There was, I get the whole he's Cyber Jesus, but that's the fucking story, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
You know who Eugene Merman is?
No.
No.
He's a comedian who did a really funny stand-up comedy special called the Vegan Goes to the Complaint Store, and he does the voice of Gene Belcher on Bob's Burgers. He's a fucking hilarious comedian. Look him up. But his comment on the Matrix 4 sequel, he goes, like, you can just hear it in his fucking obnoxious voice too when you read his Twitter account. He was like, I hope that this one stars Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss as they try to open a coffee shop and make it work in their dystopian future. I will fucking watch that movie. Please.
What are your thoughts,
Nobody is
Tim?
buying the biscotti.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Like, I enjoyed The Matrix. I think I had the perfect introduction to The Matrix because I was going to Columbus and I hadn't had television for a number of years at that point. And Jason Williamson It's okay. I can say his.
You're saying last names, Tim.
I did.
No demerits tonight.
No demerits. Free
It'll be
reign.
okay.
It's okay. We'll call Jason and tell him he got an honorable mention. It's okay.
But I went down to hang out with him after working at Frito-Lay, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna go watch this movie, The Matrix." And I was like, "What the fuck is The Matrix? Just come on." And so I saw it in Columbus, and I had no idea what it was. I was just like, "Hey, it's Bill or Ted or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's in a movie." And so, like, for me, that experience was amazing because I was just like, no, nothing. I was
Yeah.
like, and I think that was the best way to go into that film because there wasn't any previews. I didn't have any, like,
Right.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
because, like, having you and I worked at a movie theater, so you can read trailers.
Yeah.
So you can, like, okay, that's there, and that'll be that, and that's probably the pinnacle that's going to lead to the climax.
Right, yeah.
And that's where the hero and the part of the film comes in, and that's the ending.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, in 2 minutes.
I mean, I remember I saw The Matrix like opening day because my girlfriend had a huge Keanu Reeves crush. I don't know how many times I sat through Speed. And
I'm sorry.
You poor
One's
bastard.
too many.
it's not bad.
I've never
No,
seen
you know, like
Speed.
you got Dennis Hopper as a villain. Count
Yeah.
me in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when it comes to, like, films just in general, like Speed, there are popcorn movies
Yeah.
that are just like, I'm going to shut the brain off and I'm just going to eat them.
Right, yeah, Speed's not one of
Okay.
them. Independence Day's a popcorn movie.
oh,
Oh, fuck that movie in the face.
Oh,
like,
fuck you, dude. It's a great
when
movie.
the fuck did Bill Pullman decide to be like this rugged, I'm the president, god damn it. Fuck that guy. Fuck that movie in the face. Fuck Will Smith, too.
Maybe he won by default. Everyone else quit. And they're like, oh, man, it's you. And he's
Hey,
like,
guess what? You're president. Fuck.
Oh,
Like
shit.
the idea that, like, I know you got to park your brain for those movies, but like Jeff Goldblum jacking a fucking Apple laptop into an alien spaceship was just like, all right, fuck this. This is stupid.
That's what I
there's
loved about
actually
it.
a bizarre like Reddit theory I read on that.
Yeah.
That
Oh, Lord.
since Area 51 was leaking out the technology slowly from the crashed ship they had,
Oh yeah.
was that all modern Apple computing was based off of the
alien
OS,
technology, yeah.
and that's why you just like plugged in a serial cable and you were there.
All right. You just blew my mind on. Maybe I have to go back and watch that.
That actually
in
makes a
line.
lot of fucking
Yeah,
sense.
that makes a lot of sense.
And that's why I'm almost intrigued for The Matrix 4 because there have been so many different fan theories about like, oh, could the world that Neo was in after they unplugged from the Matrix be a second Matrix that humans enslaved the machines in to keep the machines docile because they thought they'd already won?
Or are they going to butt fuck the entire series?
I don't know. I mean, they got Wachowski coming back, and like, I mean, the thing is like, I think, you know, the Wachowski, they're the sisters now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they need a hit. You know what I mean? Like they did the Matrix films were great, but they haven't had a whole lot of success since then. I mean, V for Vendetta was great. I heard that Atlas. What is it?
Shrugs.
Atlas Shrugs.
No, Atlas Sky. Atlas Shrugs the Ayn Rand.
Yeah, that's the Ayn Rand.
Oh, okay. What's the fucking
It's like
Oh,
Atlas
wait.
Sky. Or
or Jupiter.
Jupiter Rising? That was it.
that might be it.
That was the other Wachowski film, and it just they need another hit because they're great filmmakers. And like the first movie, the reason I'm so excited about this is because I think the other two films suffered because even though they broke so much ground from a special effects perspective and from a filmmaking perspective, the technology was still not where it needed to be for them to make the last two films the way they wanted to. You know, like the flight scenes of Neo in fucking through the cities and the crazy fight sequences that happen when he's fighting off like 50 of fucking Smiths. Just they didn't have the right technology to make that look the way it looks. Now watch Battle Angel Alita and tell me they couldn't make that movie better. Tell me they couldn't make Matrix 2 and 3 better if they made it now. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that completely.
So I'm interested to see what happens because technology has caught up with their vision at this point. So I want to see what they can do with it. On top of it, I don't know if Keanu at this point in his career would sign on for a shitty movie. That guy's on fucking top of the world right now. Like, he's fucking A-list Brad Pitt level at this point. That you give that guy, you attach him to a script that's going to make a fuck ton of money, mainly because of the John Wick shit.
and I love the fact that he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't care about the money.
No, he doesn't at all. But I don't think It has nothing to do with the money. I don't think he would do it to tarnish his career. I think he's very happy with where his career is right now. And I don't think he would take a super shitty movie and take a chance of fucking his career up. Like, I think he's happy with where he's at. I just don't see him doing it. Plus, Carrie-Anne Moss, why would she come back to it too?
Considering she actually learned how to do that scorpion kick.
Yeah, exactly.
She trained for that.
She trained for that shit, dude, yeah. So that's my stance on it anyways. But I'm about ready for another cigarette.
All right, you guys want to call it here?
Yeah, I'm cool with calling it. I'm cool with calling it tonight.
What a fucking night.
Dude, this has been crazy, man.
It's a Pippity Pop night.
Yeah, dude. Curt, give us some more Pippity Pop information.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the ultimate snack, Pippity Pop. That's right. It comes in a variety of flavors, including caramel apple, cheese, caramel corn, taxi cab floor, and fruitation. That's it for all of us here at the Lunatic Parade Podcast. Thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.
Pippity Pop. Nerd out.
Good night, folks.
Later, nerds.
God, that was the fucking greatest episode we have ever done. Ever, ever, ever in the history of the universe.
Well, that's it for this installment of the Lunatic Parade Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to middle-aged white guys shoot their mouth off about nerdy crap. See you next week.